that brought me alive. Though we're all like monsters, playing with the monsters. They brought me alive, but got no alibi. It's a lover's fight without an alibi. Took my innocence without an alibi. Smoking gun, you got me on the run. We know that will come. We're out up till dawn, but how can I hide it without an alibi? It's a lover's fight without an alibi. Took my innocence. I can't wait no longer. I'm playing with the monsters. Everything that brought me alive. Oh, we're all like monsters, playing with the monsters. They brought me alive, but got no alibi. It's a lover's fight without an alibi. Took my innocence without an alibi.
Hello. Oh my goodness. Hello. Hello. Get your fish boxers ready because we are jumping in. Oh man. Okay, let's get. Hello. Hi. I am not mentally prepared for this. I see Matt and Alicia are here and ready to go. Oh man, let me get this ready here. Whew. So we hit 50 followers last week, and as such, I said we would read the sequel to When It Rains, and here we are. We're here going to read the sequel. So let's get started because I've got, let's see. I'll scroll up the description. I posted this on Discord the other day. Basically just kind of playing off of the description of the original. It's like, what happens when a tomboy is named the Quinka of the school because of her cool persona? She gets attacked by fanboys. What happens when the Kinka suddenly shows an interest in this Quinka? He gets a broken heart. What happens when the nice guy / class clown also shows an interest in this Quinka? He gets the girl. What happens when the fangirls attack the Quinka because they falsely claim she is in love with the Kinka? Karma bites them in the ass. What happens when it rains? All emotions are poured out. Oh, what was I thinking already? So we got, summaries of the characters. We have, our protagonist, Park Tessa, because she is not like the other girls, as we established. Park Tessa, the dictionary definition of a tomboy, can switch from cool, calm, and snarky to outgoing and off-the-wall energetic. Sometimes she gets randomly put in leadership positions, but she will do an excellent job at it, primarily known as the best female dancer at Busan High. Also, the sequel is called Story of My Life, which is kind of boring compared to When It Rains, but you know what? It's fine. It is fine. Kim Jong-woo, Ye-sung. Class clown who is not afraid of embarrassing himself in a crowd, is very balanced with his friends. When they are crazy and out of control, he's calm and quiet. When they're quiet and calm, he's the one crazy and funny, primarily known as the best singer at Busan High. We got Lee Dong-hae, the Kinka one of the Kinkas at Busan High, very romantic but childish at the same time, can be very understanding of one's feelings, even though he doesn't seem like it, primarily known as the most romantic of the Kinkas at Busan High. Also the origin of fishboxers. When It Rains, Story of My Life. And then we have Park Jung-soo, which is Ituk, Tessa's older brother, funny and lovable, but knows when to turn serious. Always tries to find time to spend with his little sister, can never understand a girl's heart, but can understand Tessa just fine. And we got some new characters here. Well, one new, one returning. Nam Woo-hyun, new student at Busan High, a real sweetheart and tends to act aegyo at times. And refresher, aegyo is basically woo. That's pretty much the gist of it. Yi King Kwang. If you remember Ki Kwang, new student at Busan High and Tessa's ex-boyfriend. Claims he's changed for the better, can trick people easily by abusing his good looks, and many more characters to come. So, and here's a little piece of the beginning for you. I can't believe this shit I've been through this past year. From creating dances to the point of fights in art class, and the paint fights in art class, and also meeting Ye-sung and Dong-hae. If it wasn't for those two, I wouldn't be the way I am right now. It seems like we have met just yesterday. Damn, time flies. I wouldn't change any of those times for the world. As time went by, I'd progressively gotten my fanboys back. That was a fun adventure on its own. Uni hasn't bothered me all that much, but when she did, karma came back and bit her in the ass. It's very strange, but I have a feeling that all of this shit is about to go down this school year. And it may or may not be a good thing. Oh, hello, Guardian Nightwolf. Congrats on the affiliate. Thank you so much. And because of that, we are reading fanfiction that I wrote like 10 years ago. So, yay. Let's hop into chapter 1. Oh, wow. Okay. Rated M for language, or maybe more. Most likely not. Hashtag no sexy time. Let's get started. The first day. And here is what the poster looks like. Story of my life. We have characters Ki Kwang, Dong-hae, and Woo-hyun. And then we got Ye-sung and our protagonist. So here we go. Hashtag no sexy time. Time for your feeling. Thank you. OMG, it's too good already. Already. All right. Oh. I need to remind everyone. Let me go back. I'm doing this on my phone right now. I'm gonna go back, because if you remember that, like, last little bit. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, I don't even have my... Do I? There we go. There's our alerts. Hello! Hello! Thank you for the raid! Thank you so much! Oh, man. I just kind of threw everything together on my layout last second, but yes, thank you for the raid so much. Thank you. Had to come show you some love. Thank you so much. Thank you. What's up? Make sure I spell. Let's throw you a shout out real quick. Maybe. 317 out of 400 Pokemon. Nice! Nice. Alright. Nice. Working hard on that Pokedex. Oh yeah, just as a little reminder, at the very end of When It Rains, we had like this short little chapter at the very end. It was, Tessa was extremely excited for reasons that are obvious. She slid down the stairwell and landed perfectly. Wow, you actually had a perfect landing. That's a new one, Ituk said as he walked towards her. First time for everything, right? Tessa smiled as she quickly put her shoes on. Ituk then handed her skateboard to her. Have fun, Tessia. Tessa nodded, will do. With that, she skateboarded full speed to the school. She met with Yuna along the way and started to head to school with her. Upon arriving at the building, Tessa took a deep breath and said, Senior year, bitches! Tessa coolly shouted as she stepped foot into the school. Glad to see you're excited for senior year, Yuna chuckled. Why wouldn't I be? Tessa smiled. They swung by the office to pick up their schedules and started comparing them. Not much different from last year, Yuna commented. For you, maybe. Tessa's expression remained blank. Why? Yuna asked. I have 2 dance classes and a rapping class. I really don't understand that, Tessa replied. Yuna only nodded as they walked to their first class. Some guys would stare at them in awe, and others would be fawning over them. Yuna smiled and waved at them, while Tessa remained cool. Despite Tessa being taken, that didn't stop the fanboys from drooling all over her. And I thought the fanboys were over me already. Tessa released a sigh as she reached her first class. She glanced around the room and found a few familiar faces and some new faces as well. When she saw a familiar figure sitting by the window, she smiled to herself and made her way towards him. Hey, you, she smiled. Hi, Tessa, Ye-sung smiled back. Who knew we would have our first hour together, Tessa chuckled. I didn't rig it or anything, Ye-sung replied. Oop, shoot. There we go. I know you didn't, Tessa said as she leaned back in her chair. I still can't believe it's senior year. Neither can I, Ye-sung sighed, then had a sudden thought. Wait, aren't you only 16? Yeah, but when I went to school in the States for a few years, so that's how I'm the youngest in our grade, Tessa replied. So what classes do you have, Ye-sung asked. Hashtag Tessa doesn't care about fanboys, yes. What classes do you have, Ye-sung asked. Tessa handed him her schedule. That's pretty much it right there. Looks like we have science and history together, Ye-sung said. Cool, Tessa smiled and looked over his shoulder to see his schedule. So what are you doing this weekend? Nothing really, Ye-sung replied. Tessa was about to reply to that, but Donghae suddenly appeared. What's up, homies? Don't act gangsta. It doesn't suit you at all, Tessa bluntly told him. Can't blame a guy for trying, Donghae shrugged. Actually, yes I can, Tessa smirked. Donghae just stared at her weirdly. You never changed from the last time I saw you. Glad to help, Tessa replied. I have a feeling this year is going to be interesting, Ye-sung pondered. Alright. Why? Give me a second. Let's see. I know the problem. There we go. Thanks for pointing that out. Hashtag don't act gangsta. I fixed it. I kind of fixed my layout at the last second, so yeah, there we go. Thank you, thank you. All right. Let's get back to it. After the first day of school, Ye-sung was patiently waiting for Tessa outside the doors. Tessa then met up with him, and they started walking home together. So how was your first day? Tessa asked as she grabbed his hand and laced their fingers together. Oh, look at them being so cute. It was pretty okay, but I really hate the fact that in the classes I don't have with you, I have with Yuri. Ye-sung replied. That really sucks, Tessa said. Ye-sung nodded. It's only the beginning of the year. You'll never know what may happen. True, Tessa smiled. Anything can happen at this point, and it's only begun. Ye-sung then squeezed her hand. Just remember that when the going gets rough, we have each other to lean on, he said. He saw that she hesitantly nodded. That's what I'm here for you to lean on me when the going gets tough. Araso? Araso. And araso just means okay. They continued to walk to Tessa's house in silence, but it was a comforting silence. Upon arriving at her house, Ituk was sitting in a chair on the front porch, just reading a book. Tessa stared at him weirdly, as did Ye-sung. I didn't know he reads. He doesn't, Tessa bluntly replied. They walked up to him, and Tessa pulled the book away. Yeah, Ituk protested. Tessa got a good look at the book and saw something she probably didn't want to see. What? She released a sigh. You are a guy after all. What was he reading? I want to know now. What was he reading? With that, she walked in the door. Ye-sung stared at her weirdly and looked at Ituk, who was a little red. What were you reading? Ye-sung asked. That's none of your concern, Ituk replied as he followed Tessa in the house. # no sexy time. Ye-sung shrugged and went inside as well. He took a look around the house and noticed that some stuff was rearranged. Did you guys rearrange the place? As a matter of fact, we did, Ituk smiled. More like I rearranged the living room while Ituk was sitting on the couch. I was moving, laughing. You know, that sounds like something my brother would do. Like my actual brother. Or, you know, that sounds like something my husband would do, actually. He would laugh for a few seconds, and then he would help me. # porn on the porch. God damn it, Matt. Oh, that's funny. Alright. What? Is it wrong for an old man to not do work? Ituk chuckled. Oh, now you play the old man card? Tessa scolded him. Every time I tell you, you shouldn't do that. You're getting old. You always complain. I'm not old. I can handle myself. But when it comes to cleaning the house, you sit on your lazy ass watching me clean. Ye-sung started laughing at their banter. You know, I could have come over and helped you out. I know, but I thought it would just be a good sibling bonding time. Looks like I was wrong. Tessa shot a look to Ituk. Ye-sung chuckled as he hugged Tessa from behind. So, what are we gonna do for the rest of the day? I don't know, but I think we might need to help this old man out with dinner, Tessa joked as she pointed to Ituk. Ye-sung and Tessa chuckled as they saw Ituk getting red with anger. Yeah, he protested as he started chasing both of them around the house. I really hope none of this changes. What are the chances of this being perfect like it is now? Tessa thought as they were running around the house. That's chapter 1. Chapter 2. I can't rap. About a week has passed since the first day of school, and Tessa has already found a way to annoy her teachers. During the break, Tessa took the chance to just sleep in her rap class. Uh-oh, things are too good. # will things always be perfect? Will they? I don't know. Hey look, it's Sleeping Beauty, Eunhyuk joked as he patted her head. Sorry, your princess is in another castle, Tessa mumbled in reply. Eunhyuk stared at her weirdly as he took his seat next to her. Well, I think we're supposed to get our first major project of the semester today. Are you excited? Tessa shot her head up. I would be if I can actually rap. You know, maybe rap class, yes. Yes. And just a side note, I have written a story where there is basically a school that, like, is basically like an entertainment company, but in the form of a school. So, but that's something for a different day, maybe. I don't know. But yes, rap class. Maybe Alicia is the teacher here? I don't know. I'm still waiting on that rap album. I'm pretty sure you can rap. I've heard you before, Unyuk shrugged. You what? Tessa glared at him. Well, you were quietly singing along to the song, then you started reciting the rap part, and I thought it was pretty good. Unyuk shrunk under her glare. Tessa just shook her head as she opened up her notebook. About a minute later, the bell rung, and the class got started. Alrighty, class, today we're going to start our first major project of the semester, Mr. Shim started. I need you, individually, to perform a rap according to your style of rap. It can be from a song or you can write it yourself. It just has to be performed in your own style. The rap album is to be determined. Alright. With that being said, the new students got to work on their raps. Tessa released a sigh as she stared blankly into her notebook. Need help thinking of a rap? Unyuk asked. No, I'll think of something. Okay, but let me know if you need anything. Unyuk, just let her be. Tessa then pulled out her iPod and looked up a song. Unyuk happened to glance at her iPod and saw that her background on her main screen was a picture of her and Ye's song. Aw, how cute. He sadly smiled to himself as he started to jot a few lyrics down. Of course, Unyuk would be kinda sad because he's best friends with Donghae, and Donghae didn't get the girl. Ye-sung did. After lunch that day, Tessa was called down to the office. The moment she walked into the door, I swear I didn't use as many cuss words as you think, she playfully told Mr. Kim. I'll take your word for that, Mr. Kim slowly replied. Anyway, that's not why you're here. Then why am I here? Tessa asked. Just then, a familiar guy appeared from his office door. I need you to show him around the school. I'm sure you can handle a task as simple as this, Mr. Kim said. Tessa just kept staring at the guy. I did this all the time last year. Great! And don't torture the poor soul, Mr. Kim joked. Would I really do that, Mr. Kim? Tessa innocently replied. Just show him around the school. Mr. Kim pushed them out of the office. Tessa chuckled to herself after the office door shut. She then turned to the guy with a serious expression. What are you doing here, Ki-kwang? My parents had to move and they brought me with them, Ki-kwang shrugged. I didn't plan this. And I believe you, Tessa shrugged. Well, let's get started with the tour. With that, Tessa took Ki-kwang around the school. She showed him how to get to his classes, what the quickest routes are to the cafeteria, gym, and auditorium. As the two were walking down the halls during break, Annyeong, Tessa, a guy greeted her. Tessa nodded in recognition of his greeting. Then another guy came up to them. Annyeong, Tessa, is there anything I can get for you this break? Nope, Tessa bluntly replied, and her and Ki-kwang walked away. Is it always like this? Ki-kwang asked. Pretty much, Tessa shrugged. The two went silent for a little bit. You know, Ki-kwang spoke up, I think I'm gonna like it here. You sure about that? Tessa smirked. I mean, you are pretty good looking, don't get me wrong. But knowing some of the girls here... Ki-kwang hesitantly nodded. So... he awkwardly started. Where do you live now? Tessa asked. 18th Street, Ki-kwang replied. Tessa froze. What block? I'm right by the park near the highway, Ki-kwang answered. Oh, you're only 2 blocks away from me, Tessa said suspiciously. Ki-kwang threw his hands up in defense. Trust me, I did not plan this. Tessa shot him one more suspicious look before carrying on with her tour. You know, shit has hit the fan when your ex has moved closer to you, Tessa thought to herself, because of course, right? It's always the ex moving closer. After the bell rang, Tessa immediately went to find Yesung. When she saw him walking by himself out the door, she caught up with him and jumped on his back. Carry me, she simply stated. What, too lazy to walk? Yesung simply replied. You know me so well, Tessa smartly said. As they were walking to Tessa's house, so I heard you had a rap project to do, Yesung started. Where'd you hear that? Tessa asked incredulously. Donghae told me, Yesung replied. How'd he... Wait, don't answer that, Tessa sighed. So what are you going to do for your project, Yesung asked. Tessa released another sigh. I don't know. I can't rap. Yesung scoffed. No, I can't rap. I've heard you rap before while you were in the shower, and you were pretty good. You heard that? Tessa objected. I was passing by your room and I happened to hear you rap, Yesung sheepishly explained. Tessa just pouted upon getting to her house. When they got to the front door, they found a note. Went out somewhere. Be back sometime. I feel like that might have been an actual note my parents have left me before, because they always left notes for us if they went somewhere. Your brother is very specific, Yesung commented. Indeed he is, Tessa nodded as Yesung led her down. After they walked in the door, they saw a mess in the kitchen. Tessa and Yesung shot each other a strange look before inspecting the kitchen. Yesung saw something black on the floor. What the hell is this? Tessa looked to where he was. I think that's a hockey puck. But it smells like a cake, Yesung added. I'm pretty sure that's a hockey puck, Tessa nodded to herself. Why would he bake a cake? Yesung pondered. My birthday is in 4 months, Tessa thought out loud. And then she snapped her fingers and solved it. It's for a girl. How did you come to that conclusion so fast? Yesung looked at her. Tessa just shrugged. This has happened before, but it failed last time. Gee, I wonder why. Yesung happened to notice the look of worry in her eyes, but chose not to bring it up for the rest of the day. Yay. Oh hey, funny gif of Yesung. That actually happened. Okay. Next chapter. Surprise. Yeah, we're gonna see if we can get maybe at least halfway through this. We'll see where we can get. Chapter 3. As Donghae walked into his dance class, the first thing he saw was Tessa, who was half asleep and listening to her iPod. Always half asleep. Always half asleep. Always half asleep or actually asleep. He decided to walk up to her and gently kick her. Only gently, of course. She looked up blankly at him. Morning, sleepyhead, Donghae greeted. Tessa blankly looked at the clock and back to him. Morning. I think for today, Mr. Seo is going to give us a really hard choreography project today, Donghae said. Tessa nodded. Easy A for me. The confidence. Just because you are already a choreographer, Donghae pouted. Tessa chuckled. Well, I've only been dancing since I was 13. Donghae's jaw dropped. I never knew that. Well, now you know, Tessa said, just before they got class started. Mr. Seo stood up in front of the class. All right, settle down, students. For today, I'm going to be putting you guys in groups of 3, and you will be choreographing a routine that fits each of the individual styles, but combining them to make one style as well. Do we get to pick the groups, or are you choosing them? Hyoyeon asked. I'll be choosing, Mr. Seo nodded. So, group 1, Lee Donghae, Lee Hoya, and Lee Ki-kwang. Wow, 3 Lees. I didn't even look at the next line. 3 Lees, Mr. Seo? How clever of you, Donghae joked. Mr. Seo totally ignored his comment and continued to announce the groups. And for the last group, we have Kwon Yuri, Park Tessa, and Jung Nicole. Now then, get to your groups and start thinking of ideas. Oh boy. With that, Nicole hopped up and happily walked towards Tessa. Hi, she smiled. I feel honored that I'm going to be working with you. Tessa shyly smiled. No need, I'm just an ordinary dancer. But still, you're the best dancer in the entire school, Nicole complimented. Hashtag 3Lee. We're gonna come up with a whole slew of hashtags, aren't we? But still, you're the best dancer in the entire school, Nicole complimented. Tessa just smiled back as Yuri lazily sat down next to them. So, Tessa broke the silence, what style of dance do you guys like? I like the sexy hip-hop style, Nicole replied. Yuri shrugged, clearly showing she was uninterested. Tessa already knew her style of dance anyway. So what I'm thinking is we could do a hip-hop compilation, Tessa started, since all three of us love a different branch of hip-hop. I like that idea, Nicole smiled, while Yuri still wore a bored expression. This is going to be interesting, Tessa thought as she looked at the two girls in front of her. Because of course we're paired up with, you know, the bitch who tried to ruin us, but it's fine. Later in rap class, they had to present their raps in class. Oh no. Oh no. With luck of the draw, Tessa wasn't going first, but she had to go right after Unhyuk, which was a blow to her self-esteem. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but Unhyuk in Super Junior is the main dancer and main rapper of the group. So Unhyuk gets like all the rap lines, basically, if there is rap in the song. So that explains a little bit of context there. After a few students presented, Unhyuk was up. He sent a look towards Tessa and began his rap. I don't remember what song this was. I do not remember what song this was, but I got the translated lyrics. Let's see if I can figure it out. Nope, can't figure it out right now. I'm sure it's a Super Junior song. I'm pretty sure. So, Unhyuk's rap is, where should I start? When should I say it? That whatever was precious is now lost. You know, even if I don't say it, but I miss each second of each minute, and your beautiful eye-blinding smile. Oh! Oh! I think I know what song this is. Hashtag the rap guy. I think I know what song this is. I think I know what song this is. My Korean knowledge helped me. Hold on. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a song called All My Heart by Super Junior, and this is Unhyuk's rap part. I think. I don't know for sure, but, beautiful eye-blinding smile. I hope this touches your heart with my sad prayer. Pass this rain and pass it on to you. Unhyuk rapped as he made eye contact with Tessa the whole time. Oh. Tessa was extremely confused, but had a strange feeling that wasn't Unhyuk's feelings he was rapping. Excellent job, Unhyuk, Mr. Shim nodded. Next up is Tessa. Oh, I know this. Tessa released a sigh and got up. There were a few small cheers from her classmates before she started. The whole time, eh? Alright. You go up so fast, but don't be afraid to go slow sometimes. Nice and slow. You're the owner of this perfect world. You can change the world. If you look back, you'll get dizzy. Wildly, let's dance. Hold on, one chance. That is the rap part to my favorite song of all time called Shake It Up, and it's, of course, by Super Junior. So, of course, I had to put it in there. Hashtag too much eye contact. Tessa started out a little quiet, but started getting confident as the first line was done. Mr. Shim started clapping as they did the rest of class. Encore, 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 the class chanted. Settle down, class. We have another rap assignment soon. Mr. Shim calmed down the class. That was an excellent job, Tessa. You may now take your seat. Tessa nodded and walked back to her seat next to Eunhyuk. Where did you learn to rap like that? Eunhyuk smirked. I learned from the best. Tessa wore an equal smirk. No need to compliment me. Eunhyuk had a glint in his eye. I was talking about my Oma. Tessa cracked an eviler smirk. Eviler, huh? Eunhyuk's pride plummeted. I never knew your Oma rap. Tessa just shrugged as she listened to her classmates rap. The moment the bell rang, Vegito, my phone buffered, so all I heard was settle down, ass. That's funny. That is so funny. Settle down, ass. Oh my goodness. The moment the bell rang, Donghae ended up sprinting out of his class for some reason. He made a leap of faith over the stairs and stuck the landing. He struck a pose to nobody in particular and just kept running. Donghae randomly ran past Yaesung. Hello to you too, Yaesung mumbled as Donghae slowly walked backwards. Hey Yaesung, he smiled. Why are you running? Yaesung asked as he pointed to where he was previously running. To be dramatic, Donghae simply replied. Yaesung just stared at him for a little bit. Okay then? Donghae chuckled in return. Oh well, let's walk home. With that being said, the two started walking to the front door at normal speed. They talked about really random stuff from their class to things that have happened at their homes. Although Donghae tried to avoid talking about Tessa the entire time he was with Yaesung. I almost forgot. Donghae interrupted their walk. Are you doing anything this Friday? Not really. Why? Yaesung replied. Guys' night out. You interested? Donghae smiled. Yaesung seemed to be in deep thought. Sure, why not? Great. Donghae's smile grew wider. Meanwhile, Tessa was still in school gathering her things to leave. She already told Yaesung to go on without her. Also, she was carrying a stack of boxes down the stairs. It just got worse. Of course, it gets worse, right? Tessa ended up tripping on one of the steps. Knowing nobody was around to catch her, she braced herself for impact. She kept her eyes closed and waiting to hit the ground hard. But she never did. You should be more careful walking down those stairs, you little klutz. She heard a guy softly chuckle. After Tessa stood up straight and brushed off her pants, she took a good look at the guy. Kamsahamnida, she formally thanked him. May I know what your name is? The guy showed off a gentle smile. Nam Woohyun. Oh, here is the introduction of Woohyun. I mentioned him a little bit in the intro, but here is Woohyun. What's his relevance to the story? I wonder what it'll be. Trust. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so we start with Kamsahamnida, which is just a formal thank you very much. Tessa formally thanked the guy who had saved her from falling down the stairs. May I know what your name is? The guy showed her a gentle smile. Nam Woohyun. And be afraid. Nam Woohyun. Woohyun. Tessa was still processing what had just happened. Yes, now may I know your name? Woohyun waved a hand in front of her face. Oh, I thought you already knew my name. I'm pretty famous around this school. Tessa rubbed the back of her head. I'm Park Tessa. Tessa. Woohyun then showed a smile. Pretty name for a pretty girl. Oh boy. Oh no, it's beginning. It's beginning. Tessa then blushed a little. So, what were you doing in the halls this late after school? I was actually a little lost. Woohyun scratched his head. You see, I just transferred here today. You should have stopped by the office first. Mr. Kim would have made me give you a tour. Tessa felt a little bad after hearing that. Think of it this way. If I didn't get lost, you would have been on the floor in pain. Woohyun reasoned. Good point, Tessa nodded. But since it's way after school, how about we wait until tomorrow for the grand tour? I'm suddenly triggered by Grand Tour because me and my husband finished Dragon Ball GT the other day. And here's my stance on Dragon Ball GT. I know I tweeted about this, but if you go into Dragon Ball GT thinking it's just Dragon Ball fanfiction, you'll be fine. And here I am reading fanfiction for you, so it's just on my brain. Sounds good. Woohyun smiled at her. She is really, really pretty. I wonder how she's so famous in the school, he thought, as he helped her carry the boxes where they needed to go. Oh boy, it's beginning. Hashtag pretty name for pretty girl. When Tessa arrived home, she was a little surprised that it was not Ita casually sitting on the couch like he usually is, but it was a pretty young lady. Only about a few years older than Tessa. Hi? Tessa greeted in a strange tone. Before the woman got a chance to speak, Ita returned in the living room. Oh, Tessa, you're home. A little late, he said. Well, I had to stay after school for a little bit, Tessa replied. So, she started as she pointed to the woman. Oh, let me introduce you guys, Ituk said as he led Tessa to the couch. Tessa, this is my girlfriend, Kang Sora. Sora, this is my baby sister, Tessa. I'm not a baby. Tessa glared at Ituk. Sora giggled a little. It's nice to meet you. I've heard nothing but good things from you. That's good to know, Tessa bluntly said. Ituk glanced at the clock. Well, I need to go to the store for a little bit, so why don't you guys get to know each other while I'm out? With that, Ituk left the house without another word. Tessa then took a seat on the couch on the opposite end of Sora. So which is it? Money? Revenge? Or you just want to get in his pants? Tessa asked, straightforward and to the point. Sora flinched at her bluntness. Neither? Hashtag Sora Donald Goofy. Oh no. Oh goodness. Tessa kept a solid stare at her. You're alright. Okay. Sora seemed confused. To explain, Ituk's past relationships have been total fails. Tessa started. Since we're the heirs to the Park Corporation, most girls want the money. Some date them to get revenge on their exes, and others just for a good fuck. I mean, I'm sure people have been there. Wow, I never knew he had such a dark past with relationships. Sora started to understand. Tessa nodded. Hashtag good fuck. Tessa nodded. I know for a fact that he is extremely overprotective of me for two reasons. My first boyfriend cheated on me, and because of his rough love life. Sora nodded in understanding. So, Ituk said we should get to know each other. Alright, Tessa showed a small smile. My full name is Tessa Park Taesung. I have lived in America for a few years and moved back to Seoul. She then tried to think of other things to say. I should probably tell you that I'm a dancer. People say I'm the best at my school. Tinta, that's really cool, Sora smiled. Tessa couldn't help but smile back. Yeah, and I'm curious about this. Did you eat a hockey puck a few days ago? You mean that burnt cake? Sora asked as she laughed a little. I didn't eat it, but I did thank him for the effort. Tessa smiled. It's exactly how he took his. Always makes the effort in the end, but the end result isn't so good. She's a good fit for Jungsu Oppa, Tessa thought as the two started talking about random things. Hashtag no sexy time, correct. As Tessa skateboarded into the school, she was met with Woohyun walking out of the office. He stared at her a little weirdly. You can skateboard in the halls? Nothing in the rules says I can't. Tessa shrugged as she continued to skateboard to her locker. I want to say a locker. Woohyun caught up to her. So, can you tell me what goes on in this school? Fangirls and fanboys, Tessa simply answered. That just about sums it up. So it's likely I will get fangirls? Woohyun smirked. Tessa scoffed. Well, you are pretty cute, I'll give you that. Why, thank you, Woohyun cheekily smiled. But then again, there are a lot of cute guys at this school, Tessa added as she thought about Ye-sung momentarily, because of course. Hashtag skater girl. You sneaky devil, trying to get my hopes up, Woohyun pouted. I just don't want that big head of yours to get any bigger, Tessa laughed. Tessa then gave Woohyun the grand tour, just before the first bell rang. Woohyun has already started to take a liking to Tessa. What is this feeling I'm getting when I'm with her? Woohyun thought to himself. Uh-oh, that's not good. That is not good. The two ended up splitting ways, and they had different first hours. As Tessa took her seat, Donghae walked up to her. Annyeong. Hey, Tessa greeted back. So, how's your dance project going? Donghae asked. Tessa's expression turned grim. Do you have to ask? Donghae just shrugged. I was just curious. Just then, Ye-sung walked into the room and sat down next to Tessa. He looked over at Donghae and greeted him. Hey guys, what are you talking about? Dance class stuff, Donghae answered. Yeah, and I got put in a group with Yuri, Tessa added. That sucks, Ye-sung simply replied. Yeah, but at least I also have Nicole in my group, so I'm content, Tessa said as she leaned back in the chair. She probably leaned too far back and ended up falling onto the floor. Both Ye-sung and Donghae made a move to catch her, but she just fell right through their arms. Oops, both of them muttered. My heroes, Tessa sarcastically said from the floor. Oh, man. Sorry, not my fault you leaned back too far, Ye-sung reasoned. You know what? The floor's pretty comfy. I think I'll just stay here, Tessa said as she hinted something in her voice. Ye-sung and Donghae looked at each other, then at Tessa. Tessa released a frustrated sigh. That means help me up! Donghae and Ye-sung both flinched at her yelling and immediately helped her up. Miane! Donghae sheepishly apologized. Are you okay? Peachy, Tessa replied with a bittersweet smile. I mean, with life and all, Ye-sung corrected. Yeah, the only thing that was pretty new is that I met Ituk's girlfriend yesterday, Tessa shrugged. Ituk's got a girlfriend? Both Ye-sung and Donghae seemed shocked by this fact. Yes, and she seems okay, unlike his last girlfriends. Tessa seemed unfazed by their reactions. And yes, it's the correct unfazed this time. Hello, Jared. And hello to you too. Fotu? Hello. And yes, I did see the news about Mandy Rose this morning, and I have very mixed feelings about it. And I'm beginning to... Well, everyone knows her very accident prone. Yes. Yes. Okay, Ituk's got a girlfriend, yes, and she seems to be okay, and like last girlfriends, Tessa seemed unfazed by their reactions. So you're okay with that? And Donghae asked. Tessa just shrugged and left the subject alone for a little bit. Suddenly, she received a text. Hope your day is going well. If you aren't doing anything after school, let's go get ice cream. I know an awesome ice cream shop my friend works at. Woohyun. Tessa couldn't help but crack a smile, but she turned to Yaesung. Are you doing anything after school today? Actually, yeah, Yaesung replied before he got to say what for, Donghae hugged him from behind and rested his head on his shoulder. Yeah, he's dumping you for me and we're going out on a date tonight, Donghae joked. Tessa just stared at them with an emotionless face. Have fun, you two. You always be wary of, like, the guy best friend. You always be wary. Tessa! Yaesung was shocked. I'm just kidding. Hello, Kelly. I'm just kidding, Tessa laughed. I already know it's a guy's night out. I just wanted to make sure from you, Yaesung. Oh, yeah. You're going to be okay on your own? Yaesung asked. Tessa nodded. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm actually going for ice cream with a friend after school today, so it all works out. Yaesung nodded towards her. Something seems off, but I trust her enough not to be overly suspicious of it, he thought just as the teacher walked in to start the class. Uh-oh. This is not good. This is not good. Gotta have the classic. Gotta test the trust in the relationship. Hashtag bros loving bros. Exactly. Exactly. Alright. The day flew by fast, and Tessa was feeling extremely lazy. Due to this laziness, Tessa decided to skateboard down the halls in a new way. She was sitting Indian style on the skateboard. I believe now they call it crisscross applesauce or whatever, but yes. Sitting on the skateboard while paddling herself with a cane she borrowed from the drama class. That would be kind of fun to do, actually. She received a few strange looks, but she didn't care. As she got to the door, she happened to see Donghae, Eunhyuk, Yaesung, Kyuhyun, and a few other guys just walking south towards the subway. Moments later, Woohyun met up with her. What's with the I'm lazy? Tessa answered before he finished the question. That's good to know, Woohyun mumbled. Tessa then hopped up. Well, are you going to take me out for ice cream or what? Woohyun nodded and smiled. He then led the way to the ice cream shop. On the way there, Tessa received a text from Kyuhyun, Donghae, and Yaesung. Don't have too much fun. I know you're just getting ice cream, but you never know, Kyuhyun. Eunhyuk totally wants me to ask you to get him a strawberry shake. I'll be your best friend forever if you do that. Fishy with the heart. Have fun on your ice cream adventure. I'll see you tomorrow. 사랑해. Yaesung. Wow, this is... What is the word I'm looking for? No words can describe this. I wrote this when I was 16. Or 17. I can't remember. I think my birthday happened in the time I wrote this. I don't know. Tessa smiled as she read those texts, and Woohyun looked at her strangely. They just continued walking until they got to the ice cream shop. The shop was completely empty. Wow, what a crowd, Woohyun commented. I'll say. Tessa added. Sungyu-hyung! Woohyun shouted, and Tessa almost heard an echo in the shop. Woohyun, no need to shout. There's nobody here, the guy from the counter replied. He then looked at Tessa. May I know who this is? Your girlfriend? She is not my girlfriend, Woohyun objected. Whatever you say, Woohyun, Sungyu teased. Besides, we only met yesterday, Tessa added. Sungyu nodded. So what can I get you two today? I'll have a vanilla shake. And I'll have a chocolate malt. Ooh, those sound good, actually. Lechonk. Lechonk is the word. Yes, I will happily accept that for what this is. Happily. You chocolate. Coming right up, Sungyu smiled. The two of them took a seat and waited for the ice cream. Woohyun tried to make small talk, but really couldn't find the words to say. Sungyu then walked up to them and handed them their ice cream. Thanks, Hyung. Woohyun nodded towards him. So what would you like to do? Tessa asked. Woohyun stared at her. Like, hobbies, jobs. Well, I like to sing, Woohyun started. You sing? That's awesome. And I would have thought you'd think guys that dance are cool instead of singers, Woohyun thought out loud. I do, but there's a certain charm singers have, Tessa said as she thought about Yaesung. I can't eat it. Oh no, that's sad. That's okay. Woohyun didn't seem to catch what she was thinking about. Woohyun didn't seem to catch she was thinking about someone else. What about you? I know you dance, but anything else? Well, I randomly got put in a rap class, Tessa started out. You do seem like you would be a rapper, Woohyun observed as he took a sip of his shake. That's what everyone has told me, Tessa replied as she also took a sip of her malt. Are you really that modest? Woohyun asked. Tessa sheepishly smiled. Yeah, the only time where I'm not modest is when I dance. Woohyun nodded in understanding, and they continued to talk about other things. When Woohyun had used the restroom, Sungyu walked up to Tessa. Hello, he greeted. Yo, Tessa coolly replied. So, what do you think of Woohyun? Sungyu asked. He's definitely a good friend, Tessa asked. That's it? Sungyu asked? Or Tessa answered. Sungyu asked, yes. Well, yeah, why would I think of him any different? Tessa bluntly asked. So that means Sungyu then looked around and made sure Woohyun wasn't around to hear. You already have a boyfriend? Tessa nodded, and before she got to reply, Woohyun came back. Well, ready to go? Sure, Tessa replied as the two walked out the door. Sungyu just stared after the two. Woohyun, I hope you realize you have no chances. I hope he realizes that before everything goes crazy. Hashtag where is Yaesung? Hashtag need harem protection. The harem protection squad is here. Woohyun had insisted that he walk Tessa home. Tessa tried to tell him he didn't have to, but Woohyun kept pestering her. By the time they got to Tessa's house, Ituk had walked out the door. Sheesh, Tessa, how many good-looking guys are you gonna bring home? Ituk joked. Yeah, Tessa smacked the back of his head. Ituk only laughed. So who's this? I'm Nam Woohyun, sir, Woohyun mumbled. No need to call me sir, Ituk smiled. Just call me Hyun. Okay, Hyun. Woohyun suddenly felt nervous. Ituk, now look what you did. You made him nervous. Tessa then kicked him in the ass. I was just trying to be friendly, Ituk chuckled. Well, it was nice hanging out with you, Woohyun. Tessa smiled as she pushed him away from her house. Annyeong, she waved and closed her front door. After the door shut, so, who was that guy? Ituk asked. Just a new friend, Tessa replied. He's a new student. I ran into him yesterday after school. Wait, if you were with Woohyun after school today, what about Yaesung? Ituk asked confusedly. Guys' night out, Tessa simply replied as she went up to her room. Most girls wouldn't let their guy hang out with friends for a guy's night out, Ituk started to laugh. You have to think, I'm not most girls, Tessa said as she looked for a t-shirt to wear. Plus, I think that's really stupid how girls can get too clingy. Ituk nodded and looked at the calendar in her room. We've only got about a month left until the family camping trip. Ooh, a camping trip. Oh yeah, it's May 1st today, so the camping trip starts June 1st, huh? Tessa replied. Yep, so pack your bags in advance. You never know when they could just randomly call and change the date, Ituk advised. Will do, Tessa nodded as she quickly changed her shirt. Then she jumped on Ituk's back. Carry me downstairs? I don't know, you're kind of heavy, Ituk said in a teasing tone. Oh no, don't play the old man card on me now, Tessa sternly replied. Ituk started laughing as he carried her downstairs to the living room. So, what do you want to do for the rest of the night? We can have a party. Oh no. Hold on, let me adjust something real quick. just a little loud in my ears. There we go. Could have a party, Tessa smirked. Don't tell me you mean Ituk pretended to act scared. A Mario party? Ah, yeah! Tessa smiled and jumped off his back, and she then plugged in Mario Party and handed Ituk a controller. Time to play. Ituk smiled at her. It's good to see her smile so often. It's been forever since I've seen that genuine smile of hers, he thought as they started playing the game. I do think she fell for, not ran into. I don't know. And hashtag Tessa is not like other girls. This is getting worse. Mario Party enters. Oh man. Oh man, what's happening? Oh, the dance project. I do know of mentions of another video game, I think later on in the story. Oh, hey, there's links here to the dances. I might figure it out. Let's see if I can... What chapter are we on? I wasn't paying attention. What chapter are we on? Sorry for the scrolling. Chapter 6. Okay. Just so I can check the links. That's an unavailable video. That's an unavailable video. I mean, this was old. This is like...
What's...
That was loud on my phone. I think I found, like, dance clips of them. And I'm like, okay, that works. Alright, Dange, Hoya, King Kwang, you guys are up next, Mr. Seo called out. The three stood up and Mr. Seo played the music. First was Hoya, and he took center stage, while the other two were behind him. And I posted a link of, like, you know, Hoya dancing. Also, I mentioned Woohyun, Sungyu, and Hoya here are all members of Infinite. So that's where I pulled those characters from. Next up was Ki Kwang, and he started to put a little bit more power in his dance. The class started clapping along, and Ki Kwang made eye contact with Tessa a few times. Last was Dange, and he was a little more calmer compared to the other two, but Dange has a smoother style compared to Hoya and Ki Kwang. Every now and then, he would smile at Tessa and just continue dancing. Of course, sexy time is the named link, but no sexy time here. No sexy time here. Excellent job, guys, Mr. Seo said as everybody clapped for them. And last but not least, we have Tessa, Nicole, and Yuri. Alright, let me guess. Yep, that's not available. That one looks fine. And then... Okay. Let me get back to it. There we go. Hashtag no sexy time. Okay, Nicole's main part was up first, and she wasn't afraid to put in some sexy moves. Tessa and Yuri remained facing the back until about halfway through Nicole's first part. Yuri was up next, and she turned on the sex appeal big time. Tessa and Nicole looked timid compared to her. They used the first part of the music to get Yuri up from the split position, because I think the dance that I found had her ending in, like, you know, the splits. Just in time to start Tessa's part, she strutted down the center of the formation and started dancing. The class went nuts after the dance was over. Great job, guys, Mr. Seo cheered and jotted down some notes. With that, you guys are free to do whatever you want for the rest of the period. Someone went over and played some music. The entire class just participated in a huge dance circle. But that would be so fun, though. Just to have, like, a class period just to dance. One at a time, whoever wanted to dance would just do random things in the dance circle. Some started doing the worm, some would vogue, and others, nobody knows what they did. Donghae then went in the circle and started to breakdance. And started breakdancing, but it failed, big time. After he fell the first time, someone encouraged him to try again. So he did, and when he got up, he stumbled and fell towards Tessa. Because, of course, right? I think I had found an actual clip of Super Junior on a variety show, and Dong-ae had tried to breakdance, and he couldn't get it going for a moment. And it made me laugh so hard, and I incorporated it into the story. And yes, hashtag just dance. He stumbled and fell towards Tessa. Everyone laughed, especially Tessa, as she comforted him. Are you alright? She asked through her laughter. Dong-ae couldn't answer because he was laughing as well. Once he started to calm down a little, I'll be fine. You sure? That first one looked like it hurt, Tessa said. Yeah, I'll be fine. Not the first time it's happened, Dong-ae laughed off. Thanks for being concerned, though. Tessa just flashed a smile in reply and got up to join the dance circle. Dong-ae just smiled as he watched her dance. Aww. That's a funny moment. Tessa's second dance class was at the end of the day, and she was very thankful for that, although it was a different teacher. Mr. Yang just threw a dance party, and he observed the class. Tessa was off to the side, since she thought one dance party was enough for her that day. Hey, what are you doing off to the side? Taemin walked up to her and grabbed her arm. Join the party. Tessa didn't really have a choice. Taemin dragged her to the center of the floor, and the two just started randomly dancing. The song had changed to a hardcore hip-hop song, and Tessa flipped the switch and dominated that song. The class cheered for her, and the music went on. Mr. Yang wrote something down. After the song, Mr. Yang pulled Tessa aside. Tessa, I would like to talk to you about a project. Sure, what's the project? Tessa asked. We're going to combine all the dance classes and perform for the pre-summer festival. Of course, the festival. Oh yeah, before I mention, I know in a previous chapter, the date May 1st was mentioned. The school system in South Korea basically starts from March and ends in like early February. You know, like, I think Japan's kind of like that too. But just kind of a little context. So I use the Korean school system because they're in Korea. In South Korea, anyway. For the festival, we're going to combine all dance classes and perform for the pre-summer festival, Mr. Yang started, and I would like you to choreograph for the festival. 진짜? Tessa's jaw dropped. I feel honored that you would select me. I really think you can do it, Mr. Yang smiled. I would like you to choreograph it in 1 week and teach it the next week. If you can choreograph it sooner, that would be excellent. Will do, Tessa nodded as Mr. Yang handed her a flyer for the pre-summer festival. Suddenly, the final bell rang, and the class groaned disappointment. See you guys Monday, Mr. Yang smiled at the class. Don't forget your project, Tessa. I won't, Tessa smiled, as she was the last one out the door. She walked out the dance room with a grin on her face. Yesung was waiting patiently at her locker and noticed the good mood she's in. You're in a good mood today, he commented. That's because Mr. Yang assigned me to a special project for the next 2 weeks, Tessa replied as she grabbed her backpack. Is it something for the pre-summer festival? Yesung asked. In fact, it is, Tessa smiled as they started walking towards the front gate of the school. They're planning on combining the dance classes, and they want me to choreograph a routine for the festival. That's amazing, Tessa, Yesung smiled back. Tessa was about to say something else, but Woohyun walked up to them. Hey, Tessa, he greeted. Hey there, Woohyun. Tessa couldn't ignore his greeting. Oh, Woohyun, this is Yesung. Yesung, that's Woohyun. She introduced before she totally forgot. Nice to meet you, Yesung smiled and held out a hand to shake. Woohyun accepted the handshake. Pleasure's mine. He then turned to Tessa. So what's this about a pre-summer festival? That's right, you're new. Every year before summer vacation, we have a festival that lasts about a few days. Tessa started. It's mostly where students get to show off their talents in singing, dancing, rapping, comedy, or whatever they're good at, Yesung added. And Mr. Yang told me that they're going to combine all the dance classes for the festival, and I get to choreograph a routine for everybody, Tessa said with the biggest smile. That's really cool. Woohyun couldn't help but smile. Yesung noticed something strange with Woohyun. Well, we got to get going. It was really nice meeting you, Woohyun, Yesung said as he started walking ahead. Later, Woohyun, Tessa smiled as she caught up with Yesung. What was that about? Tessa asked him. Yesung tried to keep his cool. Something just seems off to me about him. Tessa shot him a worried look as she grabbed his hand. Don't worry about him. He's only a friend and nothing more. Yesung released a sigh. You're right. But I still can't help that something seems weird about that Wuhyun guy. The two of them started to walk in silence. It was like that all the way to Tessa's house. They saw Ituk reading on the porch again. Oh no. And Tessa decided to let it go as she went into the house. Because, of course, right? So what are you reading? Yesung asked Ituk. Ituk looked up and saw Yesung's curious eyes. That's none of your concern right now. Yesung just stared at him weirdly. If you say so, Hyung. He then looked over Ituk's shoulder and saw that it was an actual book he was reading, but once he read one paragraph, he shivered a bit. A few moments later, Tessa walked out the front door. As Yesung looked at Tessa, he turned a little red. You okay, Yesung? Tessa asked. Yeah, I'm alright. Yesung stuttered and started walking away. Ituk glanced at Tessa before she ran after Yesung and walked with him. Ituk chuckled to himself, but he had a deep thought. It's only a matter of time before this perfect couple has their first fight. Yup. Oh no. Foreshadowing. I don't even remember a whole lot of what happens. So, oh, look at this. Oh, look at Yesung. That's from the music video No Other from Super Junior. So, oh, we're here at the festival. A festival worth celebrating, part 1. What chapter is this? Chapter 7. I'm immediately forgetting, like, what number chapters we're on. I need to keep track. Alright. Hashtag round 1, fight. Yes, the perfect way to settle fights in your marriage is to play Mortal Kombat. No, not really. Not really. I mean, the cause of marriage disputes would be Mario Party and Mario Kart, but... Anyway, let me get a drink real quick, because I keep forgetting. Tessa was watching the dance class perform her choreography for rehearsals. Hyuna, don't get too close to the center. Hyoyeon, make sure you jump at the right time. Hoya, Dongwoo, don't get too close to each other during transition. She kept coaching the students. After they were done, they all congratulated each other, and a few of them complimented Tessa on the amazing choreography. After a few minutes, Donghae walked up to her. I must say, you did a great job on the choreography. Gomawo, Donghae, Tessa smiled. LMFAO, settle everything with video games. I mean, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. I don't know how you can handle all of the dance classes combined, Donghae chuckled. Well, thank you for taking the time to actually learn this, Tessa said. Just out of curiosity, Donghae started. Have you done anything with the dance crew lately? Tessa thought for a few moments. Well, Kwangsun's birthday wasn't that long ago, but that's the last time I've seen the crew. I never did get to ask this, but how old are those guys? Donghae asked. Sankyu is 18, Hyunki is 19, Bonhwa is 21, Kyubong is going to be 22, and Kwangsun just turned 23, Tessa replied. I didn't realize they were so much older than you, Donghae thought out loud. Tessa nodded. Well, you knew Sankyu's age considering he just graduated. Because, yep, he was a student last year. Or in the previous story. Yeah, but Hyunki was only 2 years older than you. Donghae started to get confused. His birthday's in March and mine's in July, Tessa clarified. Now that makes sense, Donghae nodded. So, do you have any plans for your birthday? My birthday isn't until a long time from now, Tessa slowly said. Plus, I have a family camping trip to go on after the festival. Damn, you already have plans? Donge snapped. Tessa laughed a little. Yeah, plus it's family only, so I can't invite anybody who isn't blood related. Unless I was married, but I don't plan on that for a long time. Donge then looked around and saw that just about everybody left. Let's say we head home. All right, Tessa nodded and got up. No, it was nice talking to you again. You're acting like I live on the other side of the world, Donge laughed. Tessa just shrugged as they exited the auditorium. Well, we don't have every single class together like we did last year, even though I dreaded going to class with you. So? Donge took a deep breath before asking, how are you and Yesung doing? We're doing just fine. Why do you ask? Tessa replied. I was just wondering, Donge casually replied. I honestly don't know why I asked. Really hurts. If you say so, Tessa worriedly said, and they exited the school and started walking their separate ways. Oh, we get point of view switch. Oh boy. I don't like this. I don't like this. Oh, the fish boxers. Time flew by for just about everybody because today is the first day of the pre-summer festival. Just wondering. Oh no. Yep. Just wondering. Part of me is excited, and the other part I can care less. Although I must say, everybody did a good job decorating the school. It really feels like a festival for once. As I was walking down the hall, Yuna came up to me. So, what do you think of the decorations? She beamed a smile. They're amazing, I honestly replied. The student council put a lot of effort into decorating, Yuna said. You should see the cafeteria. I nodded and started to look around. Where to first? Yuna thought for a moment. How about the drama department? Sounds good, I agreed. Then we headed towards the second floor drama classroom. Some people were dressed for the occasion and others didn't really care. Hell, some guys even showed up in pajamas. And one guy had pictures of me printed on his pajamas. That's totally creepy. Anyway, as we arrived at the drama department, we were greeted by a pretty tall girl. Welcome to the drama department, she greeted in a weird voice. I think I know why this is. Yuna and I bowed slightly and walked in the door. Annyeong, Songjong. Songjong is the youngest member of Infinite. And there are some like big highlight moments of him dressing up as a girl, and then they perform girl group dances. So yeah, that's a whole other thing. He probably didn't catch that. I would figure out their gimmick. I just laughed at his dumbfounded expression and just walked on. I must say, the drama department really stepped it up with their decorations this year. Wow, I've been saying that a lot. Hashtag creepy PJs. Yes. Wow, Yuna Ani, you look really pretty. A random girl came up to us and complimented Yuna. And Tessa Sanbeinim, you look pretty as well. Thank you, Seohyun. Yuna smiled at the younger girl. Oh, and can you go ahead and call me Ani? I smiled at her. I still strongly dislike standing next to tall people, but I'll just blame genetics for my shortness. You know, yes, I carry that sentiment everywhere we go because my husband is 6'4", and his friends are very similar height to him, and I feel so short. Anyway. Okay, Tessa Ani, Seohyun giggled, even though I think you should call me Ani. Just because I'm short, I jokingly replied. And the three of us started laughing as the drama class performed a short play for the visitors. I enjoyed it very much, but I had to leave to help prepare for the dance performance in an hour. As I was walking down the halls, I just happened to spot Yesung and Yoruk. So I decided to walk up to them and say hi. Sup, gangstas? I greeted. Nothing really, just hanging around, Yesung shrugged. What about you? Yoruk asked. Well, I have to be in the auditorium in a few minutes for the dance classes. I shrugged and leaned on Yesung's shoulder. That's right, you choreographed the big performance today. Yodok nodded to himself, thinking that he won a prize if he remembered first. I had to chuckle at his cuteness. Yeah, I worked really hard on it, and I can't wait to see how the performance will turn out. It'll be kick-ass, trust me on that one, Yesung cheerfully said. I hope so, I sighed. Well, I better get going. Don't want to piss off the teachers. I just kissed Yesung on the cheek and went on my merry way. I seriously can't hide how fucking excited I am. Aw. Hashtag don't be gangsta. Nope, no gangstas here. The roar of the students' cheers lingered in Tessa's ears. It was long after the performance, and the students had already started walking home. Tessa was talking to Mr. Shim about the performances on the final day when Dongwoo came up to them. Hey, Tessa? Dongwoo smiled and pointed behind him. Woohyun wants to talk to you. Oh no. Oh no, hashtag kiss of death. Oh no. Tessa shot him a strange look. Well, tell him to grow some balls and talk to me himself, she bluntly replied. Dongwoo then turned over his shoulder. Hey, Woohyun, she said to grow some balls and talk to her yourself. Woohyun turned extremely red from embarrassment. He then walked over towards them with his head low. You didn't have to shout that out loud, he mumbled to Dongwoo. Tessa started cracking up. I'm starting to like you, Dongwoo. You remind me of my cousin. Dongwoo nodded, but looked at her a little strangely before leaving the two. Woohyun then twiddled his thumbs. So, good job today, he shyly told her. Thanks, Tessa beamed a smile. It took a while to get the dance taught, but it was worth it. Woohyun nodded. Yeah, so are you doing anything after the festival? Actually, I am. I'm going on a family vacation right after the festival, Tessa replied. Woohyun felt a little disappointed. Oh, well, have fun on your trip. I'm not leaving until the festival is over, Tessa chuckled as the two headed out the auditorium. Oh, well, Woohyun nervously replied, oh no. Tessa started laughing, but then she saw Yesung waiting for her at the door outside. Well, I have to get going. I'll see you tomorrow, she smiled at Woohyun and started jogging towards Yesung. Woohyun looked sadly towards the two and sighed to himself. Why does she keep going towards him? Is there something I don't get? Yes, there is something you don't get. I feel like it's written in plain writing, but I don't know. I don't know. Hashtag fear the festival. Part 2. Tessa was not happy after some of the girls dressed her up and did her makeup. You look so cute, Yuna squealed. Yeah, but I feel stupid, Tessa replied. Nonsense, Tiffany beamed a smile. You look super cute. Tessa just glared at her. I don't do cute. That's a shame. You really look like the person who would pull off cute, Tiffany pouted. She's probably a different breed of cute. Excuse me, did you just say breed of cute? Breed of cute. I got tears in my eyes. This is so funny. Yuna just ignored her question as her and Tiffany dragged her out. Soon after, they got separated from each other due to the crowd in the halls. I am going to kill those two when I find them, Tessa thought as she started walking somewhere. Tessa started walking aimlessly through the halls. As she was walking, she found a ton of guys, or nerds specifically, gathered around a classroom. She decided to check it out and found it was a gaming room led by Q-Head, because of course it is, right? Hey, who's the chick? She looks pretty cute. A little too cute to be in a gaming room. Tessa ignored the whispers and went straight for Q-Hyun. Yo, Q, she shouted and got his attention. Kyuhyun looked at the short girl who was wearing white shorts, a pale yellow t-shirt, and was sporting pigtails. What's a cute little girl like you doing in a place like this? Kyuhyun chuckled. Kyuhyun, it's me, Tessa bluntly told him. Hashtag no cute. No cute. No cute. So is that a breed of cute? Just the Kyuhyun, it's me. Kyuhyun then took a good look at her and realized who it was. Once he realized that, he had to compress his laughter. Is that really you? The Park Tessa? Dressed up like that? He couldn't hold it in anymore. He busted up laughing. Tessa glared daggers at him. Shut up. She muttered. Kyuhyun just kept laughing. Miyane, I can't take you seriously when you look like that. It wasn't my fault I was bombarded this morning, Tessa pouted. Anyway, what's up with the gaming room? Mr. Kim gave us the okay for the game room, Kyuhyun answered through his chortles. Oh, chortles. That's a funny word. Can I play a game or two? Tessa asked. You sure? Kyuhyun asked back. Haven't you learned your lesson from last time? Tessa glared at him. I really can't take you seriously when you look like that, Kyuhyun repeated as he chuckled. Come on, Kyu, let her play a game. Changmin walked up and put an arm around Tessa's shoulder. What game do you want to play? Oh! I swear I didn't read this ahead of time. I did not read this ahead of time. I swear. What game do you want to play? Tessa thought for a moment. Do you have Mortal Kombat 9? We were just talking about Mortal Kombat earlier. I made the joke. I 100% made the joke. No. Okay. Okay. Wow. My intuition is strong, I guess. Yes we do, Changmin smiled and went to go get the game set up. Subconscious it is. Mortal Kombat, let's go! Oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. Yes we do. There's no way you can play Mortal Kombat 9, Keehan objected. Just because it's rated M for mature, and I'm dressed sickeningly cute. Tessa shot him a stern look. Well, let's see about that. Kyuhyun smirked, but started to laugh. And I still can't take you seriously. That earned him a swift kick in the crotch. Because, yes. Oh, the dynamic between Kyuhyun and Tessa is kind of funny to me. After she completely obliterated Kyuhyun in Mortal Kombat 9, Tessa decided to grab something to eat. She kept getting weird looks from the other students, but she chose to ignore them. When she got her snack and drink, she spotted Yaesung and a few other guys sitting around. She then walked up to them and pulled up a chair next to Yaesung. Hashtag rated M for mature. When she got her pulled up a chair next to Yaesung, you lost? Sungmin asked. Tessa shook her head. Nope. Then why are you here? Kibum asked. Can't I sit down next to my boyfriend without being questioned about it? Tessa asked. The guy's jaws dropped. Tessa, is that really you? The one and only, Tessa replied and slouched back in her seat. Who ganged up on you this morning? Yaesung asked her. Yuna and Tiffany, Tessa bitterly replied. I'm still going to kill them when I see them. But you do look cute, though, Yaesung commented. But I feel stupid, Tessa retorted. So how are you enjoying the festival? Sungmin asked. Hashtag nutshot. I'm enjoying fairly well, Tessa replied. Besides the fact that I was ganged up on this morning, I'm enjoying the day. I meant to say this yesterday, but great job on the dance yesterday, Kibum spoke up. Thank you, Tessa smiled. I was actually surprised that everyone learned that so fast. As she was talking, she noticed that Yaesung slipped his hand into hers and squeezed it tight. Tessa glanced at him every once in a while, but she noticed something off about him. After about 10 minutes, Tessa and Yaesung decided to check out the rest of the school and bid goodbye to Sungmin and Kibum. As they were walking down the hall, is something bothering you? Tessa asked. Yusung released a sigh. Yeah, but it's nothing. I'm just overthinking this. What are you overthinking? Tessa asked again. Rather not tell you, Yusung quietly replied. Tessa shot him a worried look. Alright, but if you want to tell me, I'm all ears. Yusung nodded. So how about we check out some more of the festival? Sounds good, Tessa smiled. Oh no, I'm so scared. I think I remember what happens at the end of this. Oh no. After the final bell had rung, it was surprisingly calm and the students headed out. Tessa stopped by Mr. Kim's office on the way out. Yo, Mr. Kim, you here? Mr. Kim then walked out of his office and saw Tessa. Who are you and what have you done with Tessa? Tessa threw her hands up in defense. I was bombarded this morning. And I believe that, Mr. Kim added. Is the festival better than last year? Way better than last year, Tessa answered. Glad to hear that, Mr. Kim nodded. What about that family vacation of yours? We're leaving tomorrow after the festival, Tessa said as she sat up on the desk. Great way to start off the summer, Mr. Kim smiled. Yep, but I can't help but get the feeling something strange is about to happen, Tessa sighed. If there's anything you need to talk about, you know where my office is. Mr. Kim patted her back. Come on, well, Mr. Kim. Tessa sadly smiled at him and left his office. Mr. Kim just watched her leave the office with a sad smile. Park Tessa, you are the most unique student I've ever had come across. You're like a daughter to me. Aw. Everyone needs a principal like Mr. Kim here. Hashtag foreshadowing. Up-ins building. Festival worth celebrating, part 3. Chapter 9, okay. Oh man, yep, foreshadowing. I don't like this. I think I remember what happens at the end of this. Okay, let me get a drink real quick. There we go. Hashtag cookie crumbles. Oh man. As Donghae was walking down the halls past the cafeteria, he came across Mr. Yang's dance class, just standing on a cluster of tables. Step right up, students of Bosan High. Challenge your favorite dancer to see if you can defeat them. Successfully defeat your opponent and win a prize of your choice. Only 2,001 to participate. 2001 is roughly $2. So basically $2 to participate. Onu played the role of the MC. Donghae just watched in amazement as various students challenged Mr. Yang's dance class. Taemin was challenged a few times, Hyuna was as well, but Tessa had a lot of guys challenge her. Donghae chuckled to himself as he walked up to the crowd. Girls started squealing as he walked up. Hey, I would like to join in on this dance battle party. Onu smiled. Sure thing. Who would you like to battle? Donghae pretended to think about it. How about Tessa? Tessa smirked. You really want to do that? I've won every single match so far. That doesn't mean a thing, Donghae replied as he paid Onu the 2001. Since you're the challenger, you select the music, Onu said as he guided Donghae to the stereo. He chose the song Stereo Hearts. Aw, what a cute song. And he took over the first verse. Donghae put in some smooth moves and made the fangirls squeal. Tessa started after the first chorus. She was more focused on entertaining rather than performing the moves with ultimate swag. Of course, right? The swag. Both Donghae and Tessa were having fun as they danced to the song. And after the song was over, Onu hopped on the table. Alright, audience, who do you think won this battle? Donghae? Onu put a hand over Donghae's head, and there were tons of cheers for him. Or Tessa? Onu then put a hand over Tessa's head, and there were equal cheers for her. What's this? A tie? Onu acted shocked. What do you say, Tessa? Tessa thought about it for a moment. Let's give him the win. Congratulations, Donghae! Onu smiled. So what will your prize be? Dong-ae struck a thinking pose. How about a kiss on the cheek from Tessa? Of course, right? The crowd cheered a little as Tessa shot him a strange look. This is a festival, after all. She shrugged and went up and kissed his cheek. Aw, how cute. Dong-ae cheekily smiled and walked away. Tessa stared at him weirdly, but carried on with the dance show. This has been a very strange few days. Hashtag kiss of death. After the dance show in the cafeteria, Tessa decided to just spend the rest of the festival with Yaesung. The two were just walking around the school, looking at the decorations, talking to other friends, etc., etc. I got completely knocked out by meds, but I'm back now. Oh no. Also with the hashtag no sexy time, I see ya. Oh, you're just getting back to the good part. I mean, good part as in, oh no. As they were walking down the halls, they saw a girl running away crying. Tessa and Yaesung shot each other a knowing look before going where the girl ran from. When they turned the corner, they saw two guys, one with a bored expression and the other wore a panicked one. Tessa seemed to recognize one of them. Woo-hyun, what happened? The girl confessed to me just now and I declined her gently, Woo-hyun started. But why was she crying and running away? Yaesung asked. Myung-soo over here told her bluntly that we wanted nothing to do with her, so she should not bother them, and that her boobs were obviously fake. Wow. Wow. Okay. Tessa stared at the two before going up and slapping Myung-soo upside the head. Ow! What was that for? He glared at her and rubbed his head. Those were being ridiculously blunt, Tessa replied, and turned to Woo-hyun. It's good that you let her down gently, but control your friend there. Woo-hyun nodded and then slapped Myung-soo upside the head. What the hell? Myung-soo glared at him. Tessa started laughing. Just make sure I don't see any more girls crying because of you two, or else I'll do more than slap you upside the head. With that, her and Yaesung walked away from those two. Yaesung started laughing. When were you so overprotective of other girls? He asked. Hashtag fake boob shaming. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with it. Alright. During middle school, my friend Sully told me she was going to confess to the school's kinka. When she returned, her eyes were swollen and filled with tears. I asked what happened, and she told me the guy brutally rejected her and told her she wasn't pretty at all. Tessa replied, Ah. Yaesung nodded and understood her story. Well, it's almost the end of the day, he said after he looked at his phone for the time. Tessa then had a thought. Isn't the cooking class running an ice cream shop today? You just read my mind, Yaesung smiled as they headed to the cafeteria where the cooking class was. Yay, cooking class. Yay, ice cream. It was only 5 minutes until the final bell rung for summer break. Tessa and Yaesung were just in the cafeteria talking about what their summer plans were when Dong-ae walked up to them and just laid down on the table in a sexy pose. Oh, good lord. Hey there, sexy, he said in a sexy voice. You're not so bad yourself, Yaesung bluntly replied. Dong-ae, Hyuk said from across the cafeteria and stormed to where the others were. How dare you hit on other guys when you know you're committed to me? Not my fault, Yaesung's just so sexy, Dong-ae shrugged. Oh, good lord. And Hyuk then playfully glared at Yaesung. What's he got that I don't? Oh, good lord. Why? Why did I write this? Why did I write this? Why? Dong-ae then leaned his head back and thought, well, he has a beautiful voice, he has charming eyes, and he also has a big dick unlike you. God damn it. Oh no. Tessa couldn't hold in her laughter anymore. She was laughing so hard she fell off the chair. The three guys were oh man. God damn it. Oh man, I think that broke me. Oh man. God. Big D. Tessa couldn't hold in her laughter anymore. She laughed so hard she fell off her chair. The three guys were just staring at her like she was an alien. Are you going to be okay? Nick asked. She didn't reply. She just kept laughing. Yesung, I think your girlfriend has gone crazy, Dongie told him. Tessa made an attempt to get up. I'll be fine, she said through her vicious laughter. Are you sure? You were laughing like a wild pack of hyenas getting high on crack, Dongie asked. She's fine, Yesung answered for her. I mean, if you heard me, like, really, like, laugh out loud, it sounds like a hyena. I'm not kidding. Tessa calmed her laughter and wiped a tear away. Same. That was funnier than it should have been. Suddenly, Eunhyuk, Donghae, and Yesung overlooked Tessa's shoulders as they saw someone walk up behind her. The moment the bell rung, Tessa was suddenly lifted off her feet and carried away. Say bye to the guys. Eunhyuk, Donghae, keep Yesung out of trouble for me. Yesung-i sarange. Tessa shouted as the guy carried her out the door. You sure didn't waste time picking me up from school, Ituk. Ituk just smiled as he put her down so she could get in the car. I already have both of our stuff in the trunk, so let's hit the road. Couldn't have it better myself, Tessa replied as Ituk got in the driver's seat, started the car, and took off. Yep. Oh man. Oh. Okay, that ended a lot better than I thought. I think what I'm thinking of happens later. I think what I'm thinking of happens a lot later. But never leave a fish alone. Never leave a fish alone. After a 3-hour road trip, Ituk and Tessa finally arrived at the lake. The moment they stepped out of the car, Tessa was bombarded by a woman who was around the same height as her. Tessa, you made it! Why wouldn't I, Dada Ani? Tessa smiled at the other, and Ituk, good to see you too, Sandra said. As Ituk stepped out of the car. Ituk smiled back. Yeah, how long has it been since we last saw you? Too long, Sandra said, as she helped them with their suitcase. She then released a sigh. Sanghyun, you should come out here and help us. Sanghyun then stepped out of the cabin and rubbed his ears. Sheesh, Nuna. I'm still recovering from when you woke me up this morning. Sounds like you had an interesting morning, Tessa commentated, as she grabbed her backpack and started walking inside. Tell me about it, Sanghyun rolled his eyes as all of them walked in the cabin. So who all's here at the moment? Ituk asked. Us and our parents, and some of your Uma's family are here too, Senator pondered. Just as she said that, Tessa Nuna. Tessa did a double take as she was tackled by the said guy who screamed her name. For the 1000th time, I am not your Nuna. Reminder, Nuna is when a younger guy addresses an older girl or like an older sister or something. You're older than me by a year. I am not your Nuna, Hyunsung. I know, but Uma said that you're so much more mature than I am, Hyunsung smiled. You guys can talk after we get settled in the cabin. Ituk told the two. Tessa released a sigh before heading in her and Ituk's cabin. This is going to be a long week. But you have to think, we haven't seen any of these guys in a long time, Ituk told her. I hate it when you have a good point, Tessa glared at Ituk. By the way, do you remember Jang Isa? Ituk asked. Somewhat. She was Uma's older sister, right? Tessa replied. Ituk nodded. Yeah, I was wondering if you remember her since the last time we saw her was your 6th birthday. Are they coming here this year? Tessa asked. From what Hyunsung told me, yes. And she's bringing her son too. Ituk answered. How old's her son again? Tessa asked. Should be around your age, Ituk said. And I think you go to school with him. Well, this is definitely going to be an interesting week, Tessa said as she laid down on the bed. Haesung had walked in the door after running a few errands for his Umma. Hi, Hyung, Yoda greeted. Hey, Yodok, Haesung greeted back as he walked in the kitchen. Oma and Appa went out for dinner, so it's just us tonight, Yodok mentioned. Yesung nodded as he sat down on the chair. So, what do you want for your birthday? My birthday isn't until another 20 days, Yodok bluntly replied. I know, I'm just asking, Yesung shrugged. I don't really want anything in particular, Yodok replied. You say that every year, but the day before your birthday you always go, Hyung, I want this for my birthday, I want you to get me this, and all the other crap. Yesung shot him a stern look. Trust me, I don't want that this year. Or, trust me, I won't do that this year, Yodok smiled. Yesung remained poker face. You said that last year. Your point being? Yodok asked. The sound of Yesung's palm connecting with his forehead was clearly audible. Tell me again how you're my brother. We both came out of the same womb, Yodok instantly replied. Yesung just stared at him with the strangest expression. I have nothing to say to that. Anyways, have you heard from Tessa Nuna? Yodok asked. Just a text saying she arrived at the lake. Yesung replied as he checked his phone. Turns out he has a message from Donghae. Hello, I am extremely bored. Donghae. Yesung bluntly looked at his phone before replying. Don't you have anybody else to text but me? Who are you talking to? Yodok asked. Donghae, Yesung simply replied as he received another text. No, I'm lonely. Talk to me. He says he's lonely. Yesung read the text to Yodok. Doesn't he have Unyuk or something? Yodok asked with a strange look. Don't you have that monkey to talk to? I do, but he's out with his girlfriend and I'm upset by this. A depressed fish. Unyuk's out with his girlfriend, Yesung bluntly said. That means you're stuck with him, Yodok pointed. Before Yesung could do anything to Yodok, he ran away up to his room. Yesung released a sigh before replying, what do you want me to do about it? Can you come over, please? Please. Yesung stared at his phone in disgust as he imagined Donghae pouting. He released a sigh as he stood up to put on his shoes. Yodok, I'm going out. Help me. Help me. Help. Tessa laughed at the picture attached to the text. He looked over at her shoulder and saw the picture and laughed as well. What's so funny? Sandra asked as she looked over Tessa's shoulders. Is that your boyfriend? That one is, Tessa pointed to Yesung. He's pretty cute, Sandra commented. They then started talking about other random stuff until a car pulled up near the cabins. Hey, Auntie Isol's here, Hyungsung cheered. We can clearly see that, Tessa bluntly replied. Hey, you guys are just in time to enjoy the campfire, Hyungsung's Uma In-young smiled. Miane, but my son here decided to pack right after school, Isung snidely commented towards her son. Hey, I packed, didn't I? The guy objected. Tessa looked over at him. Dongwoo? I didn't know you were my cousin. Oh, hey. Discovering cousins we didn't know we had. Well, it's been almost 10 years since we've seen each other, Dongwoo shrugged. No shit, Tessa commented. Now that everybody's here, Daejung, Sandra, and Sanghyun's appa started. Let the maknae say it. Yeah, Tessa, we're all thinking what you're thinking, Isol added. Tessa smirked. Alright then, let's get this motherfucking party started. Hashtag didn't know you were my cousin. I mean, I'm sure I've got cousins out there that I don't even know exist, because I got family spread out all over the place. So, rocky start. Chapter 11. What's this rocky start for? Oh no. Oh. There we go. Yesung glared at his phone as it was ringing nonstop at 5 a.m. You know, I would too if my phone was ringing at 5. He looked at the caller ID and released a frustrated sigh. Motherfucking Mario Party. Yes. Damn it, Fish. It's the first day of summer vacation. Let me sleep. He tried to ignore his phone, but it just kept ringing. What the fuck do you want? Whoa, why are you so grumpy? Donghae replied. I swear, I want to punch him, Yesung thought as he tried to calm down. Why are you calling me at 5 in the fucking morning? Damn, I sound like Tessa. I was lonely, Donghae meekly replied. What do you want me to do about it? Yesung sleepily asked. He could hear the pout in Donghae's voice. Can you come over? Couldn't you just call Eunhyuk? Yesung suggested. I did, but I think he's ignoring me, Donghae replied. I wish I could do that, Yesung thought and sighed. Do you want me to come over now? Please? You'd have to be an idiot to not know Donghae was pouting. There was a moment of silence before it was broken by Yesung. Yesung sighed. I'll be there in a few. Yay! I'll be waiting! Donghae cheered and hung up. What am I getting myself into? Yesung asked himself before getting ready to go to Donghae's house. Later that morning, 10 a.m. to be exact, Tessa woke up to some noise from outside. She looked out the window with tired eyes to see Isul and Inyoung playing a prank on Dongwoo. Poor Dongwoo, Tessa chuckled. That was almost you know, Ita commented before he left the cabin. And it probably will be tomorrow, Tessa said to herself before following Ituk out the cabin. Loving the fish boxers. Morning, sunshine, Sandra smiled towards Tessa. I think Dong was still sleeping, Sunghyun started laughing as he saw Dong was sleeping peacefully as the water kept hitting him. Yep, it has just been proven that Dongwoo and I are indeed related. Tessa said, I think we should wake him up and get started with day 1 of summer vacation. And Daejung cheered. You're hyper this morning, Sunghyun commented. Ituk started to laugh. So what are the plans for today? We were just thinking about relaxing by the lake for today, then have a cookout for dinner, Inyoung replied. All right, Ituk simply replied as he watched the kids were playing around the lake. He smiled to himself as he saw Tessa's childish nature reveal itself. She's grown up a lot, Isul commented as she sat down next to Ituk. It's hard to believe that she'll be 17 next month, Ituk replied. How has she been? Isul asked. It's been a roller coaster ride with her, Ituk honestly answered. Dongwoo was the same way. After his first love broke his heart, he turned stone cold, Isul said as she stared at the kids. Tessa was just like that. Ituk remembered those days crystal clear. After her fragile heart was broken, she turned cold. She went from the cute and super shy girl into a cool badass girl, of course, right? I imagine something happened along the way that changed her back. Isul stated what she thought. Ituk smirked. Not necessarily. Isul looked at him. She's not the cute and shy girl anymore, but she's not cold-hearted anymore. It's a guy, huh? Isul chuckled softly. Yep, Ituk smiled, and I really hope that they'll be together for a long time. He's that special? Isul asked. Ituk just nodded as he got lost in his own thoughts. Speaking of, I wonder what Yesung is up to. Probably no good because Donghae roped him into some shit, probably. Hashtag Stone Cold Steve Austin badass. Yes. Donghae felt a little bad for waking Yesung up so early, but he decided to go out and buy him ice cream. Miane for waking you up so early, he sheepishly told Yesung, and they were walking to a nearby ice cream shop. For the millionth time, it's okay, Yesung replied. So, Donghae started, do you have any plans in particular for the summer? Not as of yet, Yesung answered. Just a lot of birthdays to celebrate, and that's about it. Sounds fun, Donghae commented as they arrived at the ice cream shop. It is every year, Yesung replied as they walked up to the counter. What can I get you guys today? The cashier smiled. Yeah, can you get me your eyes because I can't find them, Donghae joked. Ha ha, very funny, Donghae. Suddenly the door opened and someone else entered the shop. Sungyu-hyung! You again? Sungyu stared at the guy that just came in. Yesung seemed to recognize the guy. Woo-hyun. Oh, hi, Yesung-shi. Woohyun smiled. If you add the suffix "shi" like that, that means you're like, it's more formal and you're like not that close to each other. It's more like politeness. Donghae then whispered in Yesung's ear, "You know this guy?" "Yeah, he's Tessa's new friend," Yesung replied. "Is that so?" Donghae suspiciously said. Woohyun seemed weirded out by Donghae's suspicious tone of voice. "What's up with him?" "It's just that he's also a friend of Tessa's," Yesung answered. There was a certain look in Woohyun's eye. Oh no, what if he likes her too? Woohyun, you idiot. Yesung knew what that look in his eyes meant. I hope you realize that the girl you're after is already taken. Donghae watched the stares between the two. Fuck, don't tell me that Woohyun doesn't know about Yesung and Tessa. Do you guys want ice cream or not? Sungkyu asked from behind the counter. As you can see, we're clearly busy. Yesung, Donghae, and Woohyun all looked around the shop and found it was deserted. Yes, you are extremely busy today, Donghae sarcastically remarked. Oh. Oh. Oh no, I included a picture. Oh no. Hashtag harem intensifies. Oh, goodness. You guys can talk later. How about I take your orders? Sungyu suggested. After the three took their orders, they sat down at a random table and started talking. While they were talking, Yesung received a text from Tessa. Having fun with the family. Dongwoo makes a pretty sexy lady. Laughing face. And Dongwoo, of course, member of Infinite. He is the main rapper, and I believe he's one of the dancers in the group as well. And yep, there's a picture. There is a picture that I found, and it is Dongwoo dressed up as a lady. Look at him. Look at that. And a pretty girl. That's a lot of K-pop, though. A lot of K-pop boys. We'll take a moment to appreciate this picture. It's great, isn't it? Okay. I'm gonna take a drink while we're appreciating this picture. Alrighty. Yesung then looked at the picture and started laughing. He showed Donghae and Woohyun the picture, and both of them laughed along. Is that really Dongwoo? Woohyun asked through his laughter. I think so. How the hell did they do that? Donghae laughed. Not like we haven't done it to you, Yesung commented. Donghae then stared at him with a strange expression. Are you two always like this? Woohyun asked. Pretty much, Yesung replied. Then Sungyu appeared with their ice cream. Hyun, you have to see this, Woohyun said as Yesung showed Sungyu the picture. Sungyu started laughing. Is that really Dongwoo? He looks like a sexy lady, wouldn't you say? Donghae joked. Tessa has an interesting family, Tessa commented. And hopefully one day I could be a part of it. Aw, how cute. This is definitely a calm before some kind of storm. Aw, I miss you. Chapter 12. The next day, at around supper time, Tessa was talking to Sandra about random stuff, and somehow they got on the topic of guys. So the guy that texted you the other day, he was your boyfriend, right? Sandra asked. Yeah, what of it? Tessa asked back. What's he like? Sandra asked out of curiosity. Tessa thought about how she would word her answer. He's unique. In what way? Sandra asked. He seems very stoic and quiet at first, but he's quite the character. If I can use one word to describe him, hashtag it's going to rain, probably. Probably? I don't know. It'd be weird, but he's not the random and out there weird, but more of a strange kind of weird. Tessa started. He can either be very serious or very funny. Without her knowing, Tessa started smiling. Normally, whenever I'm down or in a bad mood, Yesung always finds ways to put a smile on my face. And not because I laugh easily. Yesung sounds like a keeper. Okay, give me 1 second. Hold on. He is. How long have you been together? Sandra asked. About 4 months. Ish. Sandra smiled. You have to introduce me to him sometime. But you live all the way across town. How is that even possible? Tessa laughed. I'm a Class A stalker. I'll find a way, Sandra joked. The two started laughing at her joke. Yo, Hyunsung called out. Are you two going to join in on the campfire? Sandra and Tessa shot each other a look before joining the others around the campfire. What were you two talking about? Daejong asked. That's none of your concern, Tessa slyly replied. Anyway, Isol here is about to play something on her guitar, In-young said as they all got comfortable around the campfire. First, Isol started playing G. Of course, everybody sang along and danced like goofs because I remember I referenced that song in the first book. The next song Isol played was called Why. Tessa sung the first part and did the dance part. It's the song called Why by a group called M Black. I listened to that song often. Everyone started laughing and Sanghyun joined in on the next line. Both Tessa and Sanghyun performed the song and with equal serious expressions but funny dance moves. When they got to the rap, Tessa showed off her charismatic side and performed the rap effortlessly. Because of course, right? And she says she couldn't rap. When did you learn to rap like that? Hyunsung asked. Learn? Tessa playfully scoffed. Bitch, please. That was all natural talent. Everyone laughed at her witty comment. You know, Donglo raps as well, Isol spoke up. Let's hear it. Isol started playing the song and Donglo started rapping. Forget me, in front of these words of breakup, I hit my stopping heart and go on my knees. Get lost, this burning sadness is like rotten wood. I try to drag myself out. What does your cold heart still make me feel? Make my heart flutter and wonder. I try to ask you. You make me hard in love again. Aw, what? Oh, that's his rap in The Chaser. It's a song called The Chaser. Yes, dear. M Black. And this is from Infinite song The Chaser. One of my all-time favorite Infinite song. One that I can just recite the rap very well. I was even listening to it earlier today. 아야 멈춰가 오기야 뒤라차. That's the next line of the song. Tessa, nobody asked you to sing, In-young joked. Tessa, who took the opportunity to wittily reply, shot back. That's exactly why I sang. They just continued to sing and dance like crazy people for the rest of the night by the campfire. Those are the best. Those are the best. And I need to get up and take care of my daughter real quick. She sounds like she just woke up from her nap, so I'll be right back. So while I am taking care of my daughter real quick, we're gonna take a break real quick, and then we'll come back with the scene. So we'll be right back.
And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
back. My daughter has her lunch, and we should be good to go in a few seconds. Because it's a whole process getting her ready for her food. Because her hair's so long, you gotta pin it back. Gotta roll up her sleeves if she has long sleeves. Gotta put a bib on her. And then there you go. There's your food. Alright. We were in the middle of a scene in this chapter, I believe, so let's get back to it. Alright. Hyung, wake up! Yodok practically jumped on Yesung. 5 more minutes, Yesung mumbled. It's 2:30 p.m., Yodok pouted. You've had enough sleep. He then proceeded to drag him out of his bed. Let me sleep, damn it, Yesung protested. I don't think Tessa Nuna would appreciate you sleeping in all the time. Yodok used his strategy. I don't think Tessa would appreciate you calling her Nuna, Yesung shot back. Well, she's not here right now, so I can call her Nuna all I want, Yodok teased his young. Yesung just glared at him. I hate it when you do that. All I ask is... And I hate it when you sleep in all morning, Yodok shot back as he pouted. Yesung released a sigh and reluctantly got up. You're lucky you're my little brother. Yodok showed off a cheesy smile as he walked out of Yesung's room. Yesung released a sigh as he checked his phone and saw that he had a missed call from Tessa. He looked at the time of the call and it said 6:28 a.m. He dialed the number and waited for her to pick up. Yupseo, he heard another girl answer. Hi? Where's Tessa? Just as Yesung asked for that. Dara, honey, why the hell are you answering my phone? He heard Tessa's voice echo in the phone. I wanted to talk to your man, the girl, who was supposedly Dara, said to Tessa. So Yesung, how are you? Tired because I just woke up. Yesung bluntly replied. You just woke up? That sounds like Tessa, yeah. Dara chuckled. Yeah, hand me the damn phone, Tessa shouted. No, I want to talk to him, Dara told Tessa. Then Yesung heard a thud. Miane Yesung, Tessa said. My cousin somehow got my phone before I could. Yesung chuckled. It's all right. Did you call me in this morning? Did you call me in the morning? That wasn't me. I woke up at 11:30 this morning, Tessa suspiciously replied. She then asked Dara if she called him. Darani said she didn't. Then who the hell called at 6 in the friggin' morning? Yesung asked. Beats me, Tessa sighed. So how is that you woke up just now? Hey, the fish woke me up the other day at 5 in the morning, Yesung protested. Tessa started laughing. Seems like you've been having some bad luck. Yeah, so how much longer are you at the lake for? Yesung asked. Just a few more days. Don't worry, Yesungi, you aren't gonna suffer for much longer, Tessa chuckled. Yesung couldn't help but smile. I'll be waiting for you to get me out of this hellhole. Well, not my fault the monkey has a girlfriend, Tessa shrugged. Love you, Yesung quietly said. Love you too, Tessa replied. I'll talk to you later. Yesung sighed as he hung up. Only a few more days. There was a knock on his door. I know you're awake, Jungwona. You should eat something, Sone said as she opened the door slightly. Alright, Oma, Yesung replied as he set his phone down and followed his Oma in the kitchen. Yay! Rapping by the campfire, followed by weird phone calls. Ooh, welcome home present. Ah, hello, Blue Amalga. I see you're joining in on the fish boxers as well. Welcome to, I would say it's my hellhole, but it's fine. I'm fine, it's just embarrassing myself on the internet, it's fine. So, K-pop fanfic, yes. For 25 followers, we read a story called When It Rains. I wrote it when I was 16 years old. And since we hit 50, we are reading the sequel to that. So yes, it is a Super Junior fan fiction that I wrote. Self-insert fan fiction. It was a few days after Yesung had talked to Tessa. Love a bit of Super Junior. Yes! Yes! Yay! I mean, Super Junior is my all-time favorite group, so of course I'd write, you know. Anyway, it was a few days after Yesung had talked to Tessa, and he's really bored. She should be back today, but since it's a 3-hour trip, I suppose she'll want to rest when she gets home. Showing your talent to the internet more like... Oh, the fish boxers. Oh, the fish boxers. Also, thank you for the follow, Fotu. Thank you. I just now saw that, so thank you. He then released a sigh and got up. He looked at the clock and it read 12:32 p.m. He then decided to take a shower to pass the time. Oh. Is this when this scene happens? Oh no. This is... there's a very specific scene that I remember writing in this, and I think it's coming up. Yoruk then walked out of his room and saw Yesung headed to the bathroom. Taking a shower, Hyung? Yeah, make sure to answer the phone if it rings, Yesung said before closing the bathroom door. Yoruk shrugged as he went down to the living room to watch some TV. He watched for about 10 minutes until the front door opened. Yo, Yesung home? Yoruk looked over his shoulder and saw that it was Tessa standing at the door. Oh no. I was not trying to interrupt you. No worries, no worries. Hashtag no sexy time. Oh no. No. Yep, this is the scene I specifically remember. I specifically remember this scene. There's a few things I remembered of this, and this is one of them. Saw Tessa standing at the door. Hi, Nuna. What did I say about calling me Nuna? Tessa glared at Yoruk. You said not to call you Nuna because you'll feel older than you actually are, Nuna. Yoruk teased. Anyway, is Yesung home? Yeah, he should be upstairs, Yoruk said as he got up to go with her upstairs. Oh no. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. I hate everything now. As they got to the second floor, they saw something they didn't expect. Well, Tessa didn't expect it, and Yoruk treated it as a normal thing. God damn it. Yesung had walked out of the bathroom to grab a towel, but when he saw Tessa, he scrambled back to the bathroom. I specifically remember this scene. Tessa had a small look of surprise as she saw the small scene lightning fast. Does this always happen? She asked Yoruk. Actually, yeah, the cabinet with the towels is just outside of the bathroom. Tessa nodded as Yoruk's explanation. Sometimes Yesung forgets to get a towel when he takes a shower, but instead of asking someone for a towel, he'll just walk out of the bathroom, no problem, and grab a towel on the way to his room. Yep, this happened. Hashtag no sexy time. Tessa nodded in understanding. Wookie, can you shield Tessa's eyes? Yesung asked from inside the bathroom. Yoruk then put a hand in front of Tessa's eyes. Done. Yesung then swiftly moved from the bathroom, grabbed a towel, and got to his room without Tessa seeing anything. Is it safe? Tessa asked as she chuckled a little. Yeah, you're not embarrassed in any way? Yoruk asked. Nope. Tessa simply answered. Yoruk stared at her weirdly. Anyway, I think he should be dressed. Go ahead and knock on his door. I would imagine she's not weirded out by it because, I mean, she does have an older brother. And I know I have seen at least one of my older brothers butts for, you know, if I had $1 for every time, like, I have seen my brother's butt, I would, like, I'd be rolling in it. You'd have no idea. Anyway. With that, he went back downstairs to watch more TV. Tessa complied and knocked on his door. After hearing no answer, she opened the door slightly and saw Yesung sitting at his desk with a towel draped over his head. She walked in and closed the door behind her. Hashtag brother butt. Hi there, she greeted. Yesung turned his head towards her and blushed. Hi. Why so shy? Tessa smirked as she sat on his bed. No. Well, I feel embarrassed right now, Yesung mumbled. Tessa chuckled. No need to be. Besides, I didn't really see anything. Yesung shot her a weird look before sighing and sitting next to her on the bed. When did you get back? Approximately 15 minutes ago, Tessa replied. Don't you want to go home and rest? Yesung asked. Believe me, I do. It's just, Ito kicked me out of the house for the moment I finished unpacking. Tessa replied. Why? Yesung asked incredulously. What is about to happen? I don't know. I don't know. Because he said, and I quote, you spend a shitload of time with the family all this week. You should spend some time with someone who is not family, Tessa said, and did her Ituk impression. Then he just pushed me out the front door, but not before handing me my phone. Isa couldn't help but chuckle at her story, and then got a little silent as their laughter died down. Tessa suddenly hugged Yesung and he seemed a little surprised by this action, but he happily hugged her back. I missed your hugs, Tessa mumbled. That only made Yesung hug her tighter. You must be really tired. I am, but when I'm with you, all those feelings go away, Tessa said as she looked up at him. Aww, cute. Yesung's heart skipped a beat. He then, He then softly smiled and leaned down and kissed her gently. You know I love you, right? He breathlessly asked. Tessa nodded. Why do you always ask that? I know you do, and you know I love you too. Suddenly they heard a small crash from downstairs. Both of them rushed to where the crash was and found Yonok standing with a bowl in his hands. What the hell was that crash? Yesung asked. Oh, that? Yoda kept a blunt expression. I just killed the spider. Both Tessa and Yesung stared at him with a what expression? Are you on some sort of rampage to kill all spider kind? Tessa asked. The thing just wouldn't die, Yoda protested. Oh, Lord. Hashtag no sexy time. Hashtag no sexy time. No, 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 no. Tessa then walked over to Yoruk and grabbed the bowl from him. She checked all sides of it and handed it back to him. There's not a single mark on this bowl. After Yesung looked around the room, and there's not a spot where a spider would have been killed. Oh! What happened, Yoruk? Tessa asked. Yoruk nervously looked left and right. I panicked? What happened, Yoruk? Tessa asked. I didn't want you to have an overly intimate moment together, Yoruk mumbled quietly. You what? Yesung was baffled. In Korean, please? Tessa asked sternly. I didn't want you two to have an overly intimate moment together, Yoruk repeated slowly. Yesung turned 5 shades of red, whereas Tessa stayed the same. She then hugged the living daylights out at Yoruk. Oh, you're so cute! Huh? Yesung stared at his girlfriend in disbelief. I find it hard to believe you two are brothers, Tessa stated. I find it hard to believe that you are his girlfriend, Yodok added. How did you find that hard to believe? Tessa curiously asked. Young is usually too weird and strange for most girls. Yodok started. I'm really in shock that you're just as weird as him, maybe even weirder. Is that an insult or a compliment? Tessa asked as she cocked an eyebrow. Just take a compliment before he speaks any more, Yesung said as he slung his shoulder over Tessa. Yeah! Chungwon-hyung, Tessa's the perfect girl for you. Hope you don't do anything to fuck it up, because of course, right? Yodok thought as he was being teased by Yesung and Tessa. Aw. And of course, it's, you know, the natural thing to do as a younger sibling to cock block your older siblings. An unexpected encounter. Chapter 14. We're making some pretty good progress, really. Alright. Oh. Hashtag no spiders were harmed. Nope, no spiders were harmed. Tessa was casually playing video games in the living room. She felt like not going out at all and just take a day playing video games. As she was playing, she heard footsteps from the stairs behind her. Hey, Tessa, yeah? Tessa turned around and saw Ituk standing behind her. Yes, Ulpa, dearest? She bluntly replied. Have you seen my lucky white boxers? Oh, more boxers? Ituk asked. Oh, you mean all of them? Ituk glared at his little sister. You know very well which ones I'm talking about. Tessa stayed a little quiet. She scanned Ituk up and down and seriously wondered why he walked downstairs naked. Oh, have you checked the laundry room? They're not there, Ituk replied. Well, you have 3 options, Tessa started. 1, you can look harder for your lucky boxers. 2, you can go commando and look for your boxers. 3, you can just parade around the house naked for the rest of the day. Take your pick. Tessa turned back to the TV and continued to play her games. Ituk was about to retort something, but Dongi was taking a casual stroll in town, and he was drinking a milkshake. He had to pass by the park to get home when he walked by. Is that Dongi? A girl's voice rang. I think it is, another girl's voice chimed in. Dongi shivered upon hearing the voices as he looked back and saw the girls approaching him. Without a moment of hesitation, Dongi made a break for it. Then the domino effect started and more girls chased after him. As he was running, he found a familiar street and headed towards the direction. He found a destination to run, and he ran as fast as he could. The girls were far from him when he got to 18th Street. Oh, this is, yep, okay. Upon seeing the house he wanted to go to, he sprinted with all his might. Once the fangirls were out of his sight, he opened the front door of the house and instantly closed it behind him. After he released a sigh, he looked up and found an interesting scene. Right when the door opened, both Tessa and Ituk looked in his direction. Can we help you? Tessa bluntly asked. Dongi couldn't muster anything to say, so he just fainted. Because right now Ituk's currently just naked, looking for his boxers. Because, I mean, it is their house, and they are siblings. Oh man, I need a drink. I almost need a drink of the alcoholic variety. But nope, it's too early in the day. And I really don't drink that often. So, that's what you fucking get for parading around the house naked. Hey, one of your options was to parade around the house naked for the rest of the day, so blame yourself for that one. Dear God, I think you just scarred him for life. How was that my fault? He just randomly showed up and fainted. You can at least put something on before he wakes up. What do you need your lucky boxers for anyway? I just wanted to wear them. Go put something on before I castrate you right here, right now. Yeah, that's why. Not weird at all. Nope. Nope. I keep hearing all these voices arguing over something, but it didn't dawn on me until I regained consciousness. All I remember was running from fangirls and hiding in Tessa's house, and I saw her and Ituk talking, but Ituk was... I don't want to think about that right now. I might pass out again. When I opened my eyes, I saw Tessa looking down at me. Before you say anything, this isn't the first time Ituk has done this. Does that mean I really didn't want to think about it? I'm afraid so, Tessa sadly smiled. But I've grown immune to it. Because siblings. Can we just not talk about this? I suggested. My head was starting to hurt with the picture I recently saw. Alright, let's talk about why you suddenly showed up at my house, Tessa said with a sugar-sweet smile that screamed evil. Fangirls, I simply said. That explains so much, Tessa sarcastically replied. I threw my hands up in defense. It's not my fault I'm good looking. Yeah, it's your parents' fault, Tessa added. That sounds like something she would say. I sent her a small glare and she chuckled. So, where did Ituk go? He went to, hopefully, put some clothes on. She replied as she jumped onto the couch and sat down beside me. Then it grew a little quiet. A little too quiet. So, I awkwardly started. How's your summer so far? Pretty good. Celebrated Yodok's birthday a few days ago, Tessa replied. Other than that, I've basically done nothing but eat, sleep, dance, and play video games. How about you? Sounds like a normal summer vacation for me. To be honest, I started, I probably had a hint of sadness in my voice. I've been a little lonely. Shoki was always out with his girlfriend whenever I wanted to hang out with him. We can fix that, Tessa said as she stood up. How? I am extremely confused right now. Didn't Mr. Sale give us a project before the festival? She smirked. Yeah, I haven't started on mine yet, I sheepishly replied. She then grabbed my arm and led me to the basement. We are going to work on our projects today. Jinja, I still can't believe her enthusiasm sometimes. You have nothing to do, you have nothing to do, do you not? Tessa asked. I slowly nodded. Well, this will give you something to do. I guess she's right. How can I resist her? Okay, yeah, I'm a little pathetic, to be honest. Well, at least I can spend some time with her over the summer. Even if it is under strange circumstances. I'll gladly accept it. As Tessa was finding some music to play, I thought to myself, what would happen if she was my girlfriend instead of Ye's song? I mean, it was her decision after all, but I still can't help but wonder. Shit, too many what ifs again. I'm always doing this to myself. Somehow, I almost forgot that I was in the same room with Tessa. Yo, you ready to start? Tessa asked me. I meekly nodded my head. Yeah. I'm still trying to stay strong despite all these overwhelming feelings. Oh, the feelings. He still likes her, probably. I mean, not probably. He does, I'm sure. Because, I mean, it is kind of hard to forget stuff like that. I hope you learn to put your trust in me. Oh no. That's not foreboding at all. Chapter 15! The next day, Tessa was called by Mr. Yang to help set up the school auditorium for the summer performances. She was not really happy to go, but at least he offered to pay. I mean, money talks. That guy is lucky he's paying me, Tessa mumbled to herself as she arrived at the school. She walked in the auditorium and found Woo Hyun, who was starting to set up the stage. Oh, I think this is the scene I'm thinking of. I was thinking of earlier. He looked over to the door where he heard it open and saw Tessa skateboard to the stage. Just you? I was about to ask the same thing, Tessa suspiciously replied. I think we've been gypped, Woo Hyun said as he set up the ladder. Let's just get working. I've got to get out of here by 5, Tessa said as she put her phone back in her backpack. As she tossed the backpack to the side of the stage and started helping with the decorations. Well, it's 2:30 right now, Woo Hyun looked at his watch. If we push hard, we'll get it done. That's what he said. God damn it. Tessa laughed as she started setting up some of the background boards. Woohyun just stared at her while she was working. Are you always this perverted? Tessa smirked as she finished. Yes, I am. Woohyun just shook it off and continued working. The two would talk every now and then, but they were mostly working. After they got finished with the background, they decided to take a small break. I really wonder why it's just us, Woohyun sighed after sitting down on the stage floor. Maybe the others plain flat out didn't want to show up, Tessa reasoned. That's reasonable, Woohyun nodded. I really wonder what exactly this is for, Tessa pondered. It's for some sort of performance, I know that much, Woohyun shrugged. Tessa stayed a little quiet as she checked her phone. She had a few messages and decided to read them. Hi, Tessia, how are you? I'm fishy, she replied with. I'm fine, just a little tired because I've been gypped. Frowny face. Hey, do you want to participate in an MK9 tournament tomorrow? Let me know as soon as you get this text. Kyuhyun. She sighed as she replied, do you have to ask? Fuck yeah, I want in. Am I still picking you up at 5? Yaesung. Yes, but we might not be done right at 5. You might be waiting until we're done if that happens. Who are you texting? Woohyun suspiciously asked. Oh no! Yep, it's coming. It's coming. Who are you texting? Woohyun suspiciously asked. My friends, Tessa replied as she received another text from Yaesung. You have friends? Woohyun joked. Tessa then punched him in the arm. Yeah, I was only kidding, Woohyun laughed. Well, it's now 4:15. We should finish up the decorations. All we have to do is decorate the curtains, Tessa pointed out. We'll be done in no time. The two of them hopped up and got back to work. Tessa grabbed the ladder and started to work on the upper part of the curtains while Woohyun worked on the bottom edges. Tessa glanced at the clock as she was climbing the ladder and it read 4:50. Wow, right on time. I only have this part of the curtain to do, she mumbled to herself. Woohyun already done with his part. Are you sure you don't want me to help you? I got this, Woohyun, Tessa replied as she continued to decorate. I don't think she's got this. She does not indeed got this. Nope. Yes, kiddo. He just looked at her worriedly as she was decorating. He then noticed that the ladder was wobbling a little bit. Tessa had a little trouble reaching a certain part, so she kept her balance and she used her tippy toes to reach the spot. Just as Tessa finished putting the decorations on, she felt the ladder wobble underneath her. The next thing she knew, she lost her footing on the ladder and fell off. Who let the klutz on the ladder? Yes, exactly. Ah, oh, no. Yep, next thing she knew, she lost her footing on the ladder and fell off. Tessa braced herself for impact, but it never happened. She opened her eyes and saw that Woohyun had caught her before she hit the ground. Are you really that stubborn? Woohyun mumbled. Tessa didn't reply, but she looked in the direction of the auditorium doors and saw something that gave her a bigger shock than the fall. She saw Yaesung standing at the entrance with a blank expression. He then turned on his heels and left. Tessa then felt a pang in her heart when she saw him like that. Oh no! She jumped out of Woohyun's arms and started chasing after him. Woohyun was just baffled by what had just happened. Hashtag bridal carry. Ah, man. Yep. Alright. Yep. Misunderstandings. Definite misunderstandings. Hashtag wound of the heart. Tessa released a sigh as she arrived at Yaesung's house. She then just walked in the front door and saw Yodok lounging in the living room. She was about to ask where Yaesung was, but he's in his room, Yodok said without looking away from the TV. How did you... Wait, don't answer that. Tessa shook her head as she headed upstairs. When she got in his room, she didn't hesitate to open the door. Yesung had heard his door open, expecting it to be Yoruk, but he was caught off guard when he saw Tessa standing by the door. Tessa didn't seem bothered by the fact that Yesung was currently God damn it! No! 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 Shoot. I'm getting so much secondhand embarrassment from this. Hashtag no sexy time. No sexy time. None. Tessa didn't seem bothered by the fact that Yesung was currently shirtless, but the latter was extremely bothered. She made sure the doors closed before walking towards him. Yesung just stood still as she wrapped her arms around his neck. Mianeo, Tessa whispered before gently kissing him. Ah! Come on. Yesung hadn't a clue that was coming. After a few moments, he wrapped his arms around her waist and sort of lost himself in the kiss. Yes. Oh, God. What is happening? Mianeo, for being a stubborn idiot, Tessa mumbled as she pulled away. You're not an idiot, Yesung wholeheartedly told her. Yes, I am, Tessa said as she avoided his eyes. Hey, look at me. Yesung started. I'm not as mad as you think. It's just, I don't really know. I don't want to confuse you, and I'm really sorry. Tessa looked him in the eyes and said with sincere feelings, It's okay, I understand. Yesung softly smiled. Did you have to walk in on me changing? So? You walked in on me changing before. Yesung turned really red at the memory. Oh yeah, that's right. Tessa then chuckled a little. You even got a nosebleed from it. I remember that now. Before Yesung could even protest, Tessa strategically placed her lips on his. Yesung knew he couldn't win this war, so he just gave in and passionately kissed her back. I can't. No. The kiss grew a little more heated, but Yesung tried to control himself. To do so, he picked her up, lips still connected, and carried her over to the bed. When he set her down on the bed, he pulled away and went to his dresser. In all caps this time, hashtag no sexy time. None. Tessa was just sitting on his bed, pouting. She then noticed that Yesung was looking for a shirt. What are you doing? She asked. Since you randomly walked in while I was changing, Yesung sent her a knowing look. What? You look hot. Tessa bluntly told him, oh, really? What? Yesung froze upon hearing that. Nobody's ever told me that, he mumbled. Sinta? Well, I'm just saying the truth. Yesung scanned Tessa's expression and saw that she was saying the truth. If you keep saying that sort of thing, I might not be able to control myself, he said as he walked towards her, completely forgetting about his shirt. God damn it, why? Why this dialogue? So what are you gonna do? Challenge? You wouldn't dare. It wasn't a challenge from Tessa. She knew it for a fact. Besides, it's not rape if I don't like it. God damn it, why? Hashtag no sexy time. None. No. Why do you have to be so irresistible? Yesung thought as he just kept staring into her eyes. He cracked under her stare and started to back away. Tessa inwardly rolled her eyes at his cowardliness and decided to take action. Before he got too far away from her, Tessa grabbed the back of Yesung's head and pulled him in for a heated kiss. Yesung was a little taken aback by her actions, but shook off the feeling in a split second. He pulled her in closer to him, but doing so caused them to fall onto the floor, although that didn't really bother them at all as the kiss got even more heated. Oh no! They broke apart after a few moments and just stared into each other's eyes. You know, Tessa started out with one of her hands slowly grazing over Yasung's sculpt chest. God damn it! What did I write? I don't remember this! I don't remember this! Hashtag what happened to no sexy talk? I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. You know, you are pretty sexy, she said in a low whisper. You are seriously the first person who's ever told me that, Yesung replied in a husky voice. How can anyone not find you sexy? Tessa asked just before he started kissing him once. Ah! I can't! I can't! She then started trailing kisses. God damn it! Started trailing kisses down his jawline and along his neck. Yesung tried to suppress a moan as Tessa lightly bit his neck. What? I can't. I can't anymore. I can't. I give up. I'm done. I can't. Why did I write this? I was 16 when I wrote this. What? Hashtag the rules have been broken. She came back to me since I 사랑해, Jongwon. She softly said, 나도 사랑해, Tessa. Yesung softly replied. Tessa softly smiled as she leaned in, but unfortunately, thank God for Yodak. Thank God. Hey, Hyung, I heard a pretty loud thud. Are you? Yodak was standing at the door and saw the position they were in. Both Yesung and Tessa were looking right at him. Tessa's eyes looked back and forth between Yodak and Yesung. It's exactly what it looks like, she bluntly told him. Yodak stared at them for a few more seconds. Oh, sorry. Knowing how clumsy Tessa is, she probably just tripped and fell on top of you, Hyung. Sorry, I ruined your romantic moment. With that, Yodak closed the door and left. Tessa looked at Yesung with a small hint of surprise. Is he always this innocent? Pretty much. But he's still a mystery. Oh, I think he knows what he's doing. I think Yodak knows exactly what he's doing. The two shared a short kiss before Yesung playfully pushed Tessa off him and got up. Tessa just laid on the floor for a few seconds before sitting up and pouting. Yesung had just put on a loose shirt and sat down on his bed before Tessa had a chance to stand up. Tessa then got up and sat next to Yesung. She wrapped her arms around his waist and hugged him tight. Yesung smiled as he hugged her back. Just be careful from now on, he softly told her. Tessa nodded slightly as she hugged him tighter, if that was possible. Yesung then pulled out his camera and decided to randomly take a picture. Of course, right? As Yesung took a picture, Tessa, I love you with all my heart, and I trust you like you don't imagine. I hope you learn to put your trust in me, he thought as he looked at Tessa, who was resting her head on his shoulder. Ugh. Oh my god. Busy day. I cannot. 16. Hashtag thank God for cockblock. Yes, Yodak saved us all. He's the true hero of the story. Yodak is the true hero of the story. The next day, Yesung went down to the kitchen to get some lunch. He took note on how his and Appa weren't home. As he walked to the fridge, he noticed a note. He took it off the fridge and looked at it. Went to Jeju for our anniversary. Money's on the counter and don't hurt your brother. Oma and Appa. Yesung stared at the note for a few more seconds before setting it down on the counter and searching for the fridge. He then settled on just eating a bowl of cereal for lunch. I mean, that sounds right for me sometimes. What a chapter with the fish boxers. Yeah, I cannot believe that. Why did I write that? Why? What was I thinking? Oh, man. Nodok happened to walk downstairs and... Oh, well, cereal for lunch. As he was pouring the cereal in the bowl, Yodok happened to walk downstairs and in the kitchen. Oh, shoot. When he caught a look at Yaesung, he noticed something different about him. Hyung, what's on your neck there? Yodok asked in an innocent tone. Yaesung immediately covered his neck with his hand. What are you talking about? He asked a little nervously. Oh, no. Yodok stared at him suspiciously. Did something happen yesterday? No, Yaesung answered a little too quickly. With Tessa Nuna, Yodok was even more suspicious. Yaesung suddenly felt 10 times as nervous as he was 3 seconds ago. No, he answered nervously and just continued to make a cereal. Something did happen, Yodok concluded. Nothing happened, Yaesung tried to disagree. Then explain the hickey, Yodok challenged. Yaesung froze. I hate it when he does this, he thought as he tried his best to avoid explaining. Yaesung Hyung. Yodok started off in a scolding manner. Tell me the truth. Hashtag turtleneck incoming. Did you and Tessa? We didn't go that far, Yaesung interjected a little too quickly. Sure, and I'm pretty sure that she didn't trip and fall on you and had a romantic moment when I walked in. Yodok still kept a solid stare towards Yaesung. It was exactly like you said. She just tripped and fell. Yaesung tried to cover up. Honestly saying, that really didn't look like she fell, with the way your arms were wrapped around her waist. Yodok trailed off Shikuro, which means shut up. Yaesung objected and started to eat his cereal with a gloomy aura around him while Yodok started chuckling at his young. Oh, we're off to Tessa's point of view. Oh, man. What did I write? Well, it's 1:30 p.m. and Ituk told me to get some fresh air while him and Thora talk. Yeah, you guys all probably had the same thought I did. Anyway, I'm just casually skateboarding in the park while watching little kids play on the playground. I really missed those days when I was a kid. As I was passing a bench, I saw a little girl and what looked like to be Ki-Kwang. Being the curious person that I was, I headed towards that direction. Mi-young, I told you we can't go back home yet, Ki-Kwang told the little girl, whose name is apparently Mi-young. But I wanted to go home. Mi-young pouted, but then locked eyes with me. Ki-Kwang then looked in her direction and matched my gaze. Oh, Tessa, what a pleasant surprise. Yeah, I slyly replied. Is she your girlfriend? Mi-young asked with a cute expression. No, both Ki-Kwang and I answered simultaneously. Although I did kind of wish she still was, he muttered, but I still heard it. Not even in your dreams, I smirked. Oppa, I want to go home. Mi-young tugged on Ki-Kwang's shirt. We can't go home yet. Ki-Kwang sighed. Why can't she go home? I asked. Ki-Kwang then whispered in my ear, because it's her birthday and I'm waiting for her older sister to tell me when the party's set up. I nodded in understanding as I heard a phone go off. It wasn't mine, so I'm assuming it was his phone ringing. He looked at it and looked at Mi-young with sparkling eyes. Let's go home. Arasa, Oppa. Mi-young smiled brightly as she latched on to Ki-Kwang. Well, it was good to see you, Ki-Kwang flashed a smile. If he was trying to pull something off with that smile, it didn't work. Nice to see you too. I hope we can see each other again this summer, Ki-Kwang said with sincerity in his voice. I was a little hesitant to reply, but I just nodded slightly. Yeah. With that, we parted ways. I just hopped back on my skateboard and went in the opposite direction as them. No matter how much I talk to Ki-Kwang, my mind always somehow drifts to Yaesung. Speaking of, I wonder if Yodok is interrogating him right now. Most likely. Most likely so, but I probably should get my mind onto something else for now. I've got that Mortal Kombat 9 tournament to fucking win. Yes. Because video games takes precedence over everything. Later that night, Tessa had arrived at Kyuhyun's house. It didn't dawn on her until she rang the doorbell that she had never been to Kyuhyun's house before. Normally, when he had gaming tournaments, Tessa had other plans or something urgent came up. Moments later, Kyuhyun opened the door. "Hey, you actually made it," he sarcastically greeted. "Well, what else can I do when Nita kicks me out of the house?" Tessa shrugged as Kyuhyun let her in. Most of the guys that were in the living room turned to look at who had entered the room and cheered when they saw Tessa. "Now that we have everybody, let's get this tournament started," Kyuhyun announced. He then pulled out a whiteboard with several different names and a tournament bracket. Oh, like you just casually have a whiteboard in your house. I mean, a big old whiteboard, that's weird, but like a smaller whiteboard you just hang up on your wall isn't too bad. Video games are life. Yes, they are. They're not just one life, they are many lives. Anyway. Alright, so does this tournament have any specific rules? Changmin asked. Yes, it does, and that's what I was about to explain. Kyuhyun started. This is a double elimination tournament with benefits. Ooh, with benefits, you say. How the fuck does that work? Some guy asked. If you just lose the match regularly, the winner advances and the loser's put in the loser's bracket. But if the winner pulls off a fatality, the loser is immediately eliminated, Kyuhyun replied. What if the winner uses a babality? The loser is still put in the loser's bracket, but they have to wear a bib for the next match. Oh, like my 1-year-old is right now. Deep, yes. Have to wear a bib for the next match, Kyuhyun answered as he chuckled a little. Everyone nodded an understanding of the rules. With that being said, the tournament got started. While the first match was being played, Kyuhyun went over and sat next to Tessa. "So, what have you been up to this summer?" he asked. Tessa simply shrugged. "Nothing really. I started the summer with family vacation and haven't really done anything since." You sound productive," Kyuhyun remarked. "You know it," Tessa chuckled. Kyuhyun chuckled as well, but a sudden thought. "So, how are you and Yaesung?" "We're doing pretty well," Tessa answered like she's always been asked that question. "Since nobody's listening right now," Kyuhyun evilly smirked. "Oh, of course we're doing this, aren't we? Have you two had an intimate moment yet?" Tessa turned and faced him with a "are you fucking serious" look. "Why the fuck would you ask that?" "So you have?" Kyuhyun inquired. "I didn't say that," Tessa fired back. But you didn't say you have," Kyuhyun shot back. "I'm not exactly denying that fact," Tessa smirked. Kyuhyun just stared at her for a little bit. "How is it that I can never win against you?" "Because I'm Park Tessa," Tessa confidently boasted. Just before Kyuhyun could shoot a witty comeback, the first match ended. Kyuhyun recorded the outcome of the first match and got started with the next one. As the tournament went on, Kyuhyun couldn't help but think, I seriously can't help but wonder, does Yaesung even feel remotely jealous when Tessa hangs out with other guys? He thought as the second match got started. Hashtag no sexy time. That was a lie, apparently. Man. What have I done? What have I written? A special birthday. Ooh. Okay. Chapter 17. A special birthday. Scroll all the way down. We can see our amazing poster. When Ituk woke up and walked downstairs, he was extremely surprised by the decorations in the living room. What really surprised him was a giant teddy bear sitting in the middle of all the decorations. What the? He was obviously shocked by everything. The doorbell suddenly rang and he went to answer the door. When he opened the door, he was greeted by a giant bear. The bear started dancing in a comedic manner and that made Ituk smile. Saying Chuka Hamida. Hashtag story of my life. Oh man. It's a web of lies. Yes. Story of my life is a web of lies, yes. And also, 생일 축하합니다 is happy birthday in Korean. 고마워, 태수야. Ituk smiled. Now that I've made you smile in more ways than one, can I take this thing off? Tessa asked. It gets really hot in here. Not yet, Ituk smirked as he grabbed his camera. He then took a picture with his sister, who was in the teddy bear costume. He sent the picture to his friends and family. Now you can. Tessa immediately took the head off and walked inside. So, do you like my little surprise? I don't like it. I fucking love it. Ituk smiled as he hugged his little sister tight. Tessa happily hugged him back. Glad you do. But this was only part 1 of your 22nd birthday extravaganza. So you make it sound like I'm old. 22 is not old. It is not old, and I'm learning this now as a 27-year-old. Started laughing along. It's only 11:30. You have the whole day to be old. Just take that costume off and let's head out for lunch. He took pitifully, pushed Tessa upstairs and waited for her. He then shook his head and smiled. Tessa, you never cease to amaze me. Ituk and Tessa were listening to music as they walked down the streets dancing like goofs. They didn't care at all. Who the hell was watching them? They were in their own little world. It was Ituk's birthday after all. Tessa really wanted to make it special for him. As they walked into the diner, Tessa received a phone call. Grand Central Station. Tessa answered her phone in a comedic fashion. Ha ha, very funny, Kangin sarcastically replied. We're all set over at the house. Already? Damn, you guys move fast. Tessa seemed surprised. Well, you had already decorated most of the living room this morning, so finishing the job was effortless, Kangin pointed out. Alright then, well, I've got Ituk here at our favorite diner, so it's gonna be a while before we get back home, Tessa told Kangin. Ituk shot her a strange look. Let us know when you get home, Kangin said as he hung up. 22 is very young as a 30-year-old, yes. Yes, it is. Who was that? Ituk asked as she put her phone away. The Grandmaster Teddy Bear, Tessa replied as she took the drink of her soda. What'd he want? Ituk asked as he skeptically looked at her. Nothing in particular. Tessa tried to play it cool as she did not want to give away the surprise. Ituk kept shooting her strange glances, but chose to ignore them for the time being. About half an hour later, they decided to head home. Tessa tried her best to keep Ituk away from the ice cream stores. No matter how many times he tried to convince her, he used the egg yo trick, the bribing trick, and even tried to play the old man card. But Tessa stayed strong and kept him away. Come on, Tessia, Ituk whined. I want to go get some ice cream. No, Tessa cutely replied. Just then, Ituk's phone went off, and Tessa shot him a knowing look. Ituk pulled out his phone, but Tessa snatched it away before he had a chance to answer it. Yeah, Ituk protested, but Tessa just stuck her tongue out at him. Yubsale? Tessa answered the phone while smirking at Ituk. Isn't this Ituk's phone? Sora replied, yes it is, but he wants to play the old man card, so I'm just letting him, Tessa replied. How is answering his phone? Sora stated, old men don't use cell phones, Tessa chuckled. I am not an old man, I'm 22 fucking years old. Ituk protested as he tried to get the phone back. Tessa started laughing hysterically, and now the old man is throwing a fit. She then heard Sora chuckling over the phone. I bet he is. By the way, everybody's here at your house. So we're in the clear until I get him home? Tessa chuckled once more. I assume so, Sora simply replied. Good, because we're home, Tessa said just before she hung up the phone and handed it back to Ituk. Ituk glared at Tessa before they walked in the front door. The moment they stepped foot in the door, the lights turned on and Ituk's friends were in the living room and she greeted him with smiles. Ituk then turned to Tessa and hugged the crap out of her. Don't try to argue, I know you set this up. Tessa hugged him back. Happy birthday, Jungsilopa. Aw, hap birth. Hap birth. Also, for the record, I used everyone's, real birthdays. Yodok's birthday was mentioned a few chapters back. His birthday is June 21st. Ituk's birthday is July 1st. And yes, I know the birthdays of the Super Junior members. Don't question it. The next morning, Tessa went straight to the kitchen and fixed up a cup of tea. The reason was, she knew that Kage forced Ituk to drink more than he could handle. She set up the cup of tea on the counter with a small note attached to it and hopped in the shower. Oh, hey. After she got up, got out of the shower and got dressed, she looked out the window and saw that it was raining. We're back to the rain. Yeah, we're back to it raining. She smiled to herself. She got her laptop out and decided to update her Twitter. Of course, right? She tweeted, "Gotta love the rain." After you writing 2 books, I don't think I'd question you knowing their birthdays. Oh no, the rain. I know. I mean, but also, I remember a lot of people's birthdays. I remember, like, birthdays from, like, kids I went to school with. Just randomly. So, I'm pretty good at remembering birthdays. Anyway, within a few minutes, she got a whole bunch of replies to tweets and retweets. Typical fanboys. Tessa shook her head. Suddenly, her phone went off, and without looking at the caller ID, she answered, "Sorry, we don't accept credit cards." "Well, damn," Woohyun replied and started laughing. "What made you call, Woohyun?" Tessa asked. "I just wanted to say hi. And also, are you busy this upcoming weekend?" Woohyun replied, as patiently waiting for the answer. "I don't think so. What for?" Tessa replied as she stared looking something up on her laptop. There's a small summer show down the park and I was wondering if you wanted to go," Woohyun nervously replied. "Sounds fun, I'd love to go," Tessa said as she sent an email to Sankyu about a collab dance. "Alright then, so I'll see you this weekend?" Woohyun was all smiles. "Yep, see you this weekend," Tessa replied and hung up. Then it dawned on her. Wait a minute. I just made plans with another guy. Shit, how's Yae-san gonna take it? Yeah, oops. That's a kind of an oops. That's a bit of an oops. Don't leave me. Oh no! Uh-oh. Oh, the rain. Oh, it's the damn rain, isn't it? It is the damn rain, huh? Oh, goodness, alright. I need a drink. Again. Yep, this is where it kind of gets bad, I guess. In high school, that's like a breakup. I know. But also, I've had one relationship in high school. Lasted for 4 months over the summer. And he broke up with me via Facebook message. I'm just a little jaded by that. Also, hello, Kelly. Hi. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are doing well. Well, I am. Okay, that's so square, yes. But my next relationship, it was my husband. Like, several years later, but, it's fine. It was now Thursday, and Tessa was dead asleep despite it being 1 p.m. Yeah, no, that's fine for that. That's par for the course. It's fine. Well, that sounds like a nice dude. Yeah, I just got my Christmas present. I got a Christmas present. Nice. Yay! Christmas present. That reminds me, I need to wrap my daughter's Christmas present because I've been forgetting to do that. Mom jeans. Nice. I wanted mom jeans. I should probably invest in some mom jeans because I need a new pair of jeans. But nice. Nice on the present. Okay, Ichika tried to get Tessa up, but it failed every single time. He released a sigh as he sat down on the couch in the living room. A split second later, Yesung barged in the door. Tessa's not awake, Mituk said. Knew it. Yesung chuckled as he walked upstairs. Good luck, I've tried everything. Ituk told him before he disappeared up the stairs. I needed jeans. I got holes where they shouldn't be. Yep, I get that because when my husband goes through a pair of jeans, yeah, when he goes through jeans, he always gets holes in the most inconvenient places, so I totally get it. Feel like I tried everything and told him just before he disappeared up the stairs. Ituk then turned on the TV in hopes something would interest him. Instead, what caught his interest was Yason walking downstairs with a sleeping Tessa in his arms. Ituk-hyun, can you go outside and turn on your sprinklers? Yason requested. Sure. Ituk was a little unsure about this request, but reluctantly got up and went to the backyard. Oh, that's fun. Is it a present and a present and a present? My kid loves opening presents. Oh my god, I have fond memories of that because my brothers got my mom with that one year. Ituk then laid Tessa next to the sprinkler and got out of the way when Ituk turned on the sprinkler. Within a few seconds, Tessa was wide awake and soaking wet. Both Ituk and Ituk started laughing when Tessa got soaked. The sprinkler was still going off when Tessa walked up to the both of them. She opened her arms out. Come here, she quietly said. What are you doing? Ituk cautiously asked, even though he was laughing. I want to give you a hug. Tessa evilly smirked. Ituk then pushed Yaesung in front of him. It was all Yaesung! He then made a break for it before Yaesung could protest. Oh, fuck you, Ituk, he shouted at him as Ituk slammed the back door. Yaesung turned his head to meet Tessa's eyes. So, Tessa started, you were the one that put me near the sprinklers. No, Yaesung nervously replied as he slowly backed away from Tessa. Tessa's smirk grew more evil. I don't believe you. I love you? Yaesung tried his best to get out of this sticky situation. Nice try. Tessa's eyes screamed evil before she started to chase Yaesung around the backyard. Where was I? Oh yeah. Tessa decided to jump on Yaesung's back just to get revenge. The two just got lost in their own world as time went by. After a few minutes, Yaesung had to carry Tessa back in the house because she claims she was too lazy to get off his back. I swear, I can't believe you sometimes, Yaesung chuckled as they walked in the door. Hey, I just happen to love my sleep, Tessa protested. Yaesung couldn't help but smile. And I just happen to love you. Tessa blushed at his reply. That statement was so full of cheese. But I still made you blush, Yaesung smirked as he set her down on the bed. Oh, are we... No? I don't know. Tessa shot a glare at him. But then remembered something. Oh, hey, Yaesung's ears perked up. I'm just letting you know, but I'm going to the park with one of my guy friends tomorrow. Yaesung stared at her for a while. He saw that she had a slight look of fear in her eyes. Okay, I don't mind that. In fact, I was actually going with Yorok, so maybe we could run into each other there. Tessa seemed surprised by his reply. Okay, I wasn't really expecting you to take that lightly. Yaesung softly smiled and gently kissed her. Hey, I trust you, so you don't have to worry a whole lot. That made Tessa smile. Just don't do anything foolish. Oh no, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. That's a little foreboding. Oh wait, is it raining and the sprinklers are on? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, that's typically what happens. When we turn on the sprinklers, it rains, like, immediately after. Like, when you got sprinklers on, or you just got a car wash, it tends to rain. Hashtag bridal carry, yes. Tessa was casually waiting on the park bench for Woohyun to arrive. To pass the time, she kept texting Yaesung about random things. A few minutes later, Woohyun arrived as he jogged towards Tessa. Sorry I made you wait, he said, almost out of breath. It's fine. I didn't wait for too long, Tessa replied as she stood up. The two then started walking towards the stage on the north side of the park. As they walked, Woohyun just made small talk with her. Let me double check what chapter we're on. I forget. Oh, we're on 18. Okay, never mind. They got a... Well, Woohyun just made small talk with her. He just asked her about her day, what she's been doing over the summer, and so on. They got a pretty good view of the stage once they arrived. Once the show got started, the aura around the park turned into a positive and energetic one. About halfway through the show, Tessa started to feel a little sick. It was most likely the huge crowd. Woohyun noticed she didn't look very well and decided to take her across the park away from the stage. Are you feeling okay? He asked worriedly. Yeah, it was probably just the huge crowd, Tessa replied as she sadly smiled. It's completely understandable, Woohyun compromised. Tessa then pulled out her phone and sent a quick text to Yaesung saying she got a little suffocated in the crowd. He replied saying that he'll meet her in a bit. Hey, Tessa? Oh, shit. Oh, no. 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 No, 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 no. Absolutely not. No. Shoot. Hey, Tessa, we had said, and snapped Tessa out of her thoughts. He started inching closer to her, and she started to get majorly confused by his actions. Yes, Woohyun? Tessa replied as she started to feel nervous. There's actually something I want to tell you, he quietly said as he started leaning in. Hashtag no, 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 no. Nope, nope, nope. Tessa's body tensed up. What is he doing? She thought to herself. She could not bring herself to move away. Well, what do you want to say? She nervously asked. I like you, Woohyun said just before he planted a kiss on her. God damn it, Woohyun, why? Tessa's eyes widened with shock as her mind went blank. Once she got her composure, she gently pushed Woohyun away. She then looked over to her left and saw something even more surprising than the kiss. What she saw was Yaesung standing from afar with a hurt expression. He then walked away quietly with Tessa staring after him. Woohyun studied her expression and mentally slapped himself. I am an idiot, he thought to himself as he watched Tessa run after Yaesung. Yes, you are an idiot. You are an idiot, Woohyun. Hashtag kiss of death and gently. Yes, everything is gentle. Everything is gentle. Yaesung had already started walking home, but he suddenly heard heavy footsteps behind him. He didn't bother turning around to see who it was and just kept walking. He had to stop when he felt someone grab his wrist. Oh, the wrist grab. The patented K-drama wrist grab. You gotta have it. Yaesung, Yaesung looked over his shoulder and saw that it was Tessa that grabbed his wrist, but she had her head hung low. Mianeo. Being so damn oblivious, Tessa muttered. I never knew about his feelings until just now. Mianeo. Sorry. Yaesung felt her grip loosen a little bit. He turned towards her a little more and saw tears were streaming down her cheeks. Even though he could barely see her eyes, it absolutely broke his heart seeing her cry like that. Kazima. Kazima. Kazima means don't go. Tessa muttered through her sobs. Yaesung then turned around to face her. Look at me. Tessa then looked up at him with tear-filled eyes, and it just broke Yaesung's heart even more. Oh. With quick reflexes, Yaesung pulled Tessa into a heartwarming hug. Tessa just started even more, and Yaesung just let her cry. Oh no, my heart is so broken right now. No. He knew that she had to get all her emotions out before she could get too sick. Her sobs quieted down after a few minutes, but only because she had fallen. Why? Why? Yesung softly smiled as he noticed she fell asleep. He then started carrying her home, and he couldn't care less about the stares he was getting from the pedestrians. It was only a 5-minute walk from the park to Tessa's house, so Yesung didn't have to worry about her waking up. Once he walked in her house, he noticed that it was pretty empty. He then saw a note on the table next to the staircase and said, Sora's family invited me to Jeju for vacation. You're on your own for a few days. Yesung then proceeded to carry Tessa to her room. He then gently set her down on the bed and attempted to leave her room, but it didn't get very far since Tessa grabbed his hand. Donajima. Donajima means don't go. I'm so confused. Same. I am very confused. Like, why? Yesung then proceeded to... Okay, not Donajima means don't leave. Don't leave me. Yesung just looked at her for a few moments before sitting down beside her. There's no way I'll ever leave you. No matter what. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Alone. Yep, they're alone. But okay. Yeah, I remembered Woohyun's part in this, but I just didn't remember, like, what happened afterward. Alright, let's see. Hashtag no sexy time. Hashtag no sexy time. Alright, let's see if we can get through... This is what, 19, I think? Okay. I think this was one of the best night's sleep I've had all summer. When I started waking up, the first thing I thought was, is Tessa doing okay? I looked down slightly and saw Tessa was sleeping peacefully, but suddenly stirred in her sleep. She's probably an emotional wreck right now, and I don't blame her. But what I need to know now is do my best to comfort her. The clock read 9:34 a.m. Yeah, I wrote down like random times for, you know, things. Looks like I have to get up. Might as well go ahead and make her breakfast then. Thankfully, Tessa's a very heavy sleeper, so she won't wake up when I get out of bed. And yes, they did sleep in the same bed together. I don't think anything happened, though. Before leaving the room, I glanced back at Tessa once more just to make sure she hasn't woken up yet. Seeing her fast asleep, I went downstairs and started thinking about what to make for breakfast. I'll just make something simple because, I'll put it bluntly, I can't cook. Wookie usually does the cooking, and he's taught me a few things, but I usually fail at it. Might as well make some pancakes, because yes, pancakes are the go-to, right? They're not that bad. Yes, pancake. Just as I finished making pancakes, Tessa was walking downstairs. She still seems half asleep, but she acts 10 times cuter when she's half asleep than when she does fully awake. Hashtag Yesung isn't like other guys. Yes. Just as I finished making my pancakes, just walked in. Okay. Yesung, she mumbled as she reached the kitchen. Morning, sunshine, I bluntly replied. She glared at me for that remark. Not my fault she isn't a morning person. I made you breakfast. Her eyes then diverted to the table, and they pretty much lit up when she saw the food. I think she totally forgot about me for a moment and just started eating. I couldn't help but chuckle at how cute she looks. She released a sigh, and when she finished eating and looked in my direction, I'm sorry, she said quietly. I'm sorry if I hurt you, she said as she hung her head low. Someone wants pancakes. Yeah, she loves pancakes. Pancake. Maybe tomorrow for breakfast. You can have pancakes, kiddo. She loves her pancakes. To be honest, I was a little hurt. She didn't cause it. It's okay. It wasn't your fault, I said calmly. Yes, it was, Tessa protested. It was because of my stupid obliviousness that caused... Before she started rambling, I cut her off with a kiss. Because of course, right? I understand. I was hurt. I was hurt, but you didn't cause it. I really do not know who was at fault here, but let's just put this behind us and move on. I told her what I was truly feeling. The worry in her eyes suddenly disappeared as she slightly smiled. Okay, she softly replied. It's just... I can't help but get scared when something like that happens. Knowing how she must feel, I suddenly hugged her. She must really need it. It's only natural to feel that way, but this will only make us stronger. You're right, Tessa muttered. By the way, where's Etuk? Oh, he went with Sora and her family to Jeju, I replied, almost completely forgetting about that. Well, damn him, Tessa pouted, after a few moments. So, what do you want to do now? I shrugged. I really don't know. I just feel like being lazy today since Yodak knows I'm here and my parents went away for the weekend. Oh, hey. Nice. I don't know about you, but I feel like playing some video games. Because video games solve all the problems, Tessa said as she walked over to the TV. I don't mind at all, I smiled at her. The smile she flashed me. I could tell it was a genuine one. That was the smile that made me fall for her. Oh, how cute and so full of cheese. Hashtag Sora Donald Goofy. Yes. Later that day, Tessa started playing some online matches of Mortal Kombat 9 with Kyuhyun while Yesung watched the action. The three were talking to each other on Skype while Tessa and Kyuhyun were fighting each other. Suddenly the phone rang, and since Yesung isn't doing anything, he had to answer it. Yopseo? Yesung? For some odd reason, I half expected you to answer the phone, Etuk chuckled. Oh, really now? Yesung couldn't help but chuckle himself. Well, since Tessa is busy playing video games, so that's the main reason I answered the phone. How do I know that Tessa is just too lazy to answer the phone? Etuk questioned. Oh, lots of cussing. You cunt-sucking motherfucker, how dare you fatality me fucking twice in a fucking row, Tessa yelled when Kyuhyun defeated her once again. I mean, I have yelled profanities before after losing video games. I do get angry sometimes, yes. Okay, now I'm convinced. Etuk simply said, So, is she alright? What do you mean by that? Yesung asked as he watched Tessa play the game. You know, is she still sane? Etuk bluntly asked. No, her sanity left her about 17 years ago, Yesung joked. Yeah, I heard that, Tessa quickly objected as she just kept mashing buttons. Do you have anything planned for Tessa's birthday? Etuk asked. Nothing in particular yet, but I have an idea or two, Yesung replied. Well, you have about a week and a half to make up your mind, Etuk told him, and I have to go now. Keep an eye on her this weekend for me. You don't have to tell me twice. Yesung smiled and hung up. Then he sat back down next to Tessa. Oh, fuck you, Q, Tessa shouted as she once again lost. See, I don't win everything, and I don't make myself win everything in fan fiction. So, yeah. Sounds like you two are having fun, Yesung commented. I am. Don't know if Tessa is, Kyuhyun chuckled. Shut the fuck up, Q, Tessa pouted. Stupid fucking Sub-Zero, so fucking broken, she mumbled. Yesung wrapped an arm around her shoulder. Don't worry, he'll get him next match. I fucking hope so, Tessa replied as she started randomly pressing buttons as the match began. After what seemed to be forever, the match ended and Tessa was the victor with a stage fatality. Tessa started reciting her victory speech, and Yesung couldn't help but chuckle. After her speech was over, they decided to call it quits since Kyuhyun had something to do. Tessa seemed to still be in her victory mode, even after the game was long over. You done with your victory yet? Yesung asked. Tessa released a sigh and sat down on the couch with a smile. Yes, I'm done now. Now, I just have one question for you. Yesung started. When did you learn such colorful language? Tessa suppressed a laugh. Do you really want to know? Yesung nodded. I would very much like to know how my girlfriend learned such colorful language. Tessa smirked and leaned in and whispered something in his ear. After she told that story, and that's how my language is so colorful. Yesung's jaw dropped. How could he let someone so young be exposed to such language? Tessa just shrugged. I don't know, but ever since that day, those words have been imprinted into my mind and in my everyday language. What's the story? I don't know. I'm just learning something new about you every day. Yesung smiled as he wrapped an arm around her waist. Then a sudden realization hit Tessa. You know so much about me, and yet I don't know much about you as you do me. I seriously want to fix that, she thought as she leaned her head on his shoulder. Aw, how cute. I think that's a good place to end it off for today. I know, sad. We're just shy of halfway there, but I will have more time to finish this up next time. So, I think it's a good place to call it, and I also need to pick up my oldest daughter from school, so we will stop right there, because I knew this was going to be broken up into 2 streams. So, we're about halfway done. We made lots of good progress, and probably sometime next week we will finish this up. I will definitely have more time next week because my oldest daughter starts Christmas break this Friday. So I will definitely have more time to just read through things. So, but yes, thank you for coming out. Let's see. Bravo, good show. Thank you. Thank you. And we will come to the conclusion tomorrow. Let's see. Who can we... We haven't rated her in a minute. Looks like she's playing Genshin Impact. Let's go by 5 fish boxers out of 5. Thank you. Alright, I'd say, we'll go raid. I am Royal Blue. She's playing Genshin Impact right now. We haven't said hi to her in a minute. So let us go do that. So thank you very much for coming out. Tomorrow, we are, going back to Pokemon Scarlet, and we're gonna do Area 0 tomorrow. And then Friday, we are doing the final board of Mario Party. The final board of the first Mario Party, the second of the 2 unlockable boards. I have everything set up ready to go for that. So it's exciting. And I'll probably post in the Discord. Just in the Discord. Probably post in the Discord when the next session is to finish up Story of My Life, the sequel to When It Rains. So if you haven't already joined the Discord, please do so. You can also probably follow me on Twitter as well. So yes, let's go. Oh yes, thank you, dear. I also have some art too. You can look through my art, because I made everything myself. Layout and everything, so if you want to look through my art, feel free to do so. So, and now, let's go raid. I am Royal Blue, so we will see you guys tomorrow.